Well, honey badgers are known to do that. The problem is once they taste blood, I mean, it's pretty much over. Well, hello, hi, I am Jimbo from Thrive15.com support. Thanks for stopping by. Listen, I gotta let you know about this amazing offer we have going on right now. We're sending out live honey badgers for free. All you gotta do is give me a call, okay? And then give the code word, hey, I want a honey badger right now, and I don't mean maybe. Yes, sir, I want a honey badger. That code is, hey, I want a honey badger right now, and I don't mean maybe. Yes, sir, I want a honey badger. Just give us that code, and we'll send a honey badger right out to you. So what are you waiting for? Give me a call. Let me send you a honey badger.
This is a honey badger running around looking for a snack. Honey badger don't care. Honey badger will do anything at all costs just to feed itself and survive in the wild. As you know, or you may not know, the honey badgers live throughout Africa and Southwest Asia. And they are look how bad. Just digging away, trying to get to that snack, that mid-afternoon lunch. But it's gonna have to keep digging. You see, this honey badger knows that there's a snake. Look at this snake. You'll never catch me, says this caw, slithering up the tree. Oh yeah, says this honey badger. You think I care? I'm gonna climb right up this tree and eat your ass. Give me that snaky ass. Look, there goes honey badger right up in a tree. You think anything's gonna stop a honey badger when it's hungry? Nothing. This tree means absolutely nothing. Honey badgers learn to climb trees for snacks. As I've told you before. Up, there we go. And with nowhere else to go, it drops to its fate to become a mid-afternoon lunch for this honey badger. Up, there we go. There we go. Honey badger just, ooh, gosh, takes what it wants, and it starts smothering caw. Oh, good grief. That's just gross. Ew. Oh my gosh. Oh, you really had, oh gosh. Oh, so gross.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrivetime Show.
3, 2, 1, here we go! Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Dr. Breck, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you doing, Clay?
Well, I'm glad that Jason could make it here without certain death, because apparently en route, in transit to the Man Cave Studios, where there's a lot of construction going on back there, you stepped in, just explain to the listeners what happened.
So you know in like Indiana Jones, like the movie that made people like afraid of quicksand, I think I stepped in my first little thing of quicksand.
I am so sorry for not warning you about the mud out there.
It's okay. I should have known better. I've been here after it's rained before. I typically always wear like snow boots, but today I decided to wear like slip-ons that were one size too big.
So I owe a public apology to Jason right there. That's one deduction of a mega point for me to start the show. Now, we are keeping score, though, so hopefully I get some mega points back. We're talking today about Bill Campbell, the subject of the new book called The $1 Trillion Coach. The $1 Trillion Coach. Now, if you are out there today and you do not know the name Bill Campbell, you're certainly not alone, because most people don't know about this man because he was considered to be Silicon Valley's secret business coach. But I encourage you to go to $1 trillion-coach.com. It's $1 trillion-coach.com, and there you will see the new book written by Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google. Now, this guy, let me just tell you what kind of an impact this guy has made. Throughout his career, he's worked with companies that you know, but you just don't know about him because he volunteered to work for free. So this man worked for free. So the vast majority of his success that we're going to talk about today is previously, it's never been discussed because Bill just didn't really want to celebrate his wins, and the Silicon Valley CEOs were kind of secretive people. But let me just tell you the impact he had. Bill Campbell was the business coach for Apple's co-founder, Steve Jobs. Have you ever heard of Steve Jobs there, Jason?
I think I know the name. It sounds familiar.
That's a mega point. Okay.
Yes.
Also, he was the business coach for Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. Also, the coach for Sheryl Sandberg, the chief operating officer of Facebook. He was known as the best business coach of all time, and that is why, after his death, he died due to health-related issues. Eric Schmidt, Alan Eagle, and Jonathan Rosenberg decided to team up and to write a book documenting how he impacted them. But let me explain this to you. Bill Campbell worked with the companies during their growth phases when they were just little baby businesses, and he worked with them all the way until they grew into now companies that exceed a market value of over $2 trillion.
Wow.
And this book interviews the 80 people who Bill impacted the most. And we're not talking about people you don't know. I'm talking about the top venture capitalists of all time. I'm talking about Sheryl Sandberg's in the book. I'm talking about Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. I mean, the who's who of business is all featured in this book. But let's start off kind of talking about the early life of Bill Campbell.
Yeah.
He was born on August 31st, 1940, and was grew to become a legendary business coach, but he started off being a football coach. Let's start there. Dr. Breck, you played football.
I did.
In high school.
Yes, I did.
What do you think are the parallels between football and business from a coaching perspective?
I think there's a lot of parallels. I mean, you've got to motivate people. You've got to have a good game plan. You've got to be able to execute, the determination, the follow-through, being able to see what you're doing wrong, analyze it, then correct it, and sometimes on the fly. And so, I think there's a lot of parallels.
Well, at a certain point, Bill Campbell decided to leave coaching football and to get into corporate America. And throughout his career, he had a lot of success himself. He went on to become the chairman of the board at Intuit. He went on to become the vice president of marketing and the board of director for Apple. He was also the CEO of Claris and Intuit from 1994 to 1998, the CEO of Intuit from 1994 to 1998, and a company called the Go Corporation, which he successfully sold to AT&T. Now, the Go Corporation was the pioneer in the tablet technology. So a lot of the stuff you see now on your smartphones and the tablets, that's what the Go Corporation was all about. So Bill decided that he wanted to become a full-time business coach. So let's start there. Jason, if you were a full-time business coach who had already achieved a lot of wealth, how much do you think you would charge your clients? Like if you're sitting down with Steve Jobs and Steve's like, well, being that I have one of the most valuable companies in the world and you're trying to help me, how much do you want to get paid? How much do you think is a fair amount?
Fair amount for me would be weird because I would just want it to be like livable. I'd like to enjoy my job, but also meet all of my needs. So somewhere that would just be comfortable for me.
Well, Bill went for the low price of free.
Nice.
Which is interesting because I don't think anybody else would do that.
I'll answer that quick. I would go a little higher than probably
Free?
even just meet my needs. My needs would probably go up a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, this is the notable quotable from Bill Campbell I want to read to you. He says this. He says, I don't take stock, I don't take cash, and I don't take from anyone. He says, I don't take stock, I don't take cash, and I don't take from anyone.
I love that.
That was his whole mantra, his whole aura, his whole energy. And people might say, well, why did he do it? Why did he do it? He said that it was his way to give back. To quote Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook says, Bill's passion for innovation and teamwork was a gift to Apple and the world. Trillion-dollar coach has captured his tireless spirit so future generations can learn from our industry's greatest leaders. This is what Sheryl Sandberg has to say about the book Trillion-Dollar Coach and Bill Campbell. She said, Bill shared his wisdom generously, expecting nothing but the joy he got from teaching others. I was privileged to have him as my coach for several years. Many times since then, when asked for advice by others, I think of Bill and try to live up to the example he set. John Doerr, one of the top venture capitalists of all time, the chairman at Kleiner Perkins, writes, Bill was a world-class listener, a Hall of Fame mentor, and the wisest man I've ever met. His ambitious, caring, accountable, transparent, profane humanity built the culture at Google and dozens of other companies into what they are today. Love was Bill's distinguishing trait. He got love and he got family. I miss you, Coach. Susan, the CEO of YouTube, writes, whenever I had a tough decision to make, I think about Bill Campbell. What would Bill do? I owe him so much. He had a gift for helping people to realize their full potential and getting organizations to work well together. $1 Trillion Coach, the book, does a great job of capturing what made Bill special to me and others. The current CEO of Google writes, whenever I saw Bill, he gave me perspective about what really matters. At the end of the day, it's the people in your life. Bill had such strong principles around community and how to bring people together. He used those principles detailed in the book $1 Trillion Coach to form the foundation of Google's leadership training. So all of our leaders can continue to learn from Bill. So I want you guys to think about this for a second. The same coach was working with the founders of Square and Twitter, Jack Dorsey, Google, Apple. That's a lot of big Amazon.
Huge.
I mean, think about this. By a little quick survey, Dr. Breck, did you buy something on Amazon this week?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's a mega point for you. Jason, did you buy anything this week off of Amazon, either personally or for a business?
I think 4 days out of this week I did.
Unbelievable. That's a knowledge bomb and a mega point. Now, think about this. Jason, have you used Google in the last 24 hours?
I used Google within the past 15 minutes.
Right. Okay. Dr. Breck, have you used Google within the past 24 hours?
Yes.
Okay. Now, another question. These are profound questions. Think about this. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody listening here has probably used one of these products we've mentioned already. Now, how many of you have used, Dr. Breck, have you ever used Intuit or TurboTax or that
Yes.
program? There we go again. What about Square? Jason, have you used Square or Twitter?
I have used Square more than I've used Twitter, but I've used both.
See, this is unbelievable. You talk about an impact. I mean, this guy shaped the world as we know it. So much of what we are using today was shaped by a guy we've never heard of.
Right.
Another example, Ben Horowitz, the man who built and sold Opsware to Hewlett-Packard for $1.6 billion of cash, writes, no matter who you are, you need two kinds of friends in your life. The first kind is one who can call you when something good happens. And you need someone who will be excited for you. Not a fake excitement, veiling envy, but a real excitement. You need someone who will actually be more excited for you than he would be if that happened to him. The second kind of friend is somebody who can call you, who you can call when things go horribly wrong. When your life is on the line and you only have one phone call. Who's it going to be? Bill Campbell is both of those friends, Ben Horowitz. So, again, Bill Campbell, we're talking about a guy who is so massive, so successful, such an impact. But people are going, I've never heard about this guy. I don't know a single thing that he's taught people. Can you get some specifics? Okay, so what I did today is I decided to do a deep dive into Bill Campbell, watching interviews, listening to podcasts. By the way, there's a great new interview that just came out with Tim Ferriss and Eric Schmidt, the author of $1 Trillion Coach and the CEO of Google, where he interviews him about Bill Campbell.
Oh, nice.
So I want to put a link to the Tim Ferriss show on our show notes because that is an entire podcast devoted to Tim Ferriss interviewing Eric Schmidt about his relationship with Bill Campbell. But we're going to go through the 14 principles, and Dr. Breck, this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to read the principle. I'd like for you to kind of break it down, explain what that means to you.
Sure.
And then we're going to read a notable quotable from Bill Campbell himself. So principle number 1, know that great products drive success. Everything else is just a supporting function. Dr. Breck, as a chiropractor, how important is it to actually have a great service?
I think that's everything. I mean, for me, that adjustment is the most important thing that happens during your visit in our office. We have a lot of additional therapies, additional things that go along with. But at the end of the day, you strip it all back. The one thing that has to happen is that adjustment of your spine to allow your nervous system to function properly.
Now, I don't care what kind of business this is. I don't care what kind of business you have. Just think about this for a second. Have you ever met somebody, or have you ever been in a spot? I'm just asking you rhetorically, Thrive Nation. Have you ever been in a spot where your product sucks, but your marketing is awesome? Have you ever been in a spot where your marketing is tremendous, but your product sucks? Well, I could think of an example just yesterday. I went to a local business. I won't mention their name. And I went there, and the person who I talked to at the front desk, I said, "How was your day?" And she responded, "Well, it's another day, you know." I'm like, "Well, are you just getting here for your shift, or you're wrapping it up?" She goes, "Just getting here." And I'm like, "Okay." And my kids are with me, and they're watching this person just
This is gonna
hate
go
their
downhill
job.
from here. Yeah.
Well, I don't care how good the marketing is for that company,
Right.
that brick and mortar business. I don't think anybody had a positive reaction with this person.
Right.
Now, I can contrast that to yesterday I went to Sprouts to get some stevia and kombucha for my wife.
Oh yeah, it's good
And
stuff.
everybody I met there was very upbeat, very kind, very nice, and and the food quality's good.
Yeah.
Right.
But what if their marketing was great, Jason? What if their marketing was great, but you walked in and the food quality wasn't great and the person working there wasn't nice?
I would immediately turn around and go to Whole Foods.
So homework here on a scale of 1 to 10. I want everybody to pretend that you have a Bill Campbell as a business coach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to teach you some of the Bill Campbell moves here.
Yeah.
I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. Think about the service quality of your business. Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being awesome, 1 being the worst, and write down a number. Because what if your service quality today is a 7? What if it's a 6? What if it's a 1? What if it's a 10? What if you're at a 9 and you're very, very close to wowing people? Jason, what did we just introduce today to all of the Elephant in the Room stores, or this week to all of the Elephant in the Room stores? A little perk, a little tweak. What was one thing we introduced into the service experience?
Members can now bring their sons in to get their haircuts with them.
Now, what was one more thing we did? It tastes good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So
oh.
across all 3 shops. South Tulsa, we did away with those boring butter mints, and we replaced them with Andy's mints.
Oh, and what else did we do?
Oh, and then at downtown, we did away with those butter mints and replaced them with C's candy.
Oh, and then in Broken Arrow, what are we attempting to do?
Broken Arrow, we just threw them all in the trash and replaced them with Famous Amos cookies.
Oh! Oh, and the reason why we're doing this is because we're trying to take the service level to a whole nother realm.
Right.
Called the wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to these Bill Campbell products. Apple. How many of you have ever bought an Apple product? Like an Apple phone, an iPhone, and you get that sweet, sweet box, and you just look at it as though it's like a majestic gift from the Lord.
And then you hold on to it for 10 years.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Just the box. Yeah.
the box.
Yeah. Right. You want to start playing with the box.
But I mean, okay, now Google. Think about Google. Jason, why do you like Google and not Yahoo?
Google takes me exactly where I need to go, and they found a way to figure out their algorithm to where they're faster and just overall better.
And I don't have to get news updates about random crap I don't care about, too.
Right.
That's
Right.
huge for me.
Mm.
I don't want to go down the internet black hole of like, and I don't even want to know what's going on with most things. I mean, I don't want the negativity of the world to block out what I'm searching for in Google.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I really don't care about who's upset about Trump or Obama. I just want to search for, Tulsa dog training and find a good trainer for my dog.
Yes,
That's
every
right.
time you log on, it's just that beautiful graphic. They don't swarm you with terrorist attacks or what people are voting for. It's just great.
It's unbelievable. That's the kind of stuff you're going to find with the companies that Bill Campbell coached. Now, let me read the notable quotable here from Bill Campbell. This is Bill Campbell. This article is featured in Forbes, and I will make sure I put a link on the show notes. It says, first of all, I don't really take the company to coach unless the founder is passionate and really wants to create something durable. Once you get the founder and the CEO, you just want to find out what makes them tick. You're trying to understand what they want to get out of their management team. Then you try to spend time with the team and then put processes in place. I'm not going to tell Larry Page and Sergey Brin how to do their search engine algorithms at Google. I'm just trying to bring what they're doing to life.
Right.
So think about that. He's not getting in there as a coach and saying, this is how you should code your website. No, what he's doing is he's saying, hey, let's get the management team rolling in the same direction. That's what he would do. Now, principle number 2 is trust your managers and make sure they trust their subordinates. Dr. Breck, what does that mean?
Trust is huge. I mean, you've got to trust that everybody knows their job and is doing their job, and that flows from the top all the way down. So I mean, in that you got the managers and then the people below, but yeah, it starts at the top.
I don't know if anybody out there can relate to this, but I can. God, it's terrible when you have somebody doing management and you don't trust that they're actually doing their job.
Right.
It's awful. It is awful. When
Well,
you
and
go
take
and
steps to prevent that with the video cameras, surveillance.
Let me just give an example.
For security, and then also the call recording.
I 100% agree with what Dr. Breck just said. You put in the call recording. Clarity Voice is a program we recommend. You put in the video cameras. I agree with all that, and I want to just pile on with this. Jason, an elephant in the room, if we have to write somebody up for breaking a policy, where do we have to put that file?
We send that immediately as soon as it's been signed by who it's being documented for, by the management, and by a third party, so we can just verify all the information. We immediately upload that to our disciplinary folder in Dropbox.
Now, I can tell you this, though. I've had situations before where I've had to deal with an unemployment situation, and I go to look for the files,
Right.
and they're not there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I ask the manager, hey, where are these? And they say, I forgot. Well, that really kills trust because I have to go back and verify every time.
Right.
Just as recently as yesterday, I was looking for some core source documents on Dropbox.
Mm-hmm.
And a member of my team was like, oh, yeah, they're there. They're there. Yes. And they're not there. And so that's tough. And that's why you just got to trust but verify.
Right.
You got to trust but verify. Because if you just blindly trust, really puts you in a bad situation. When you assume, it makes a boop out of you and me. All right. Notable quotable from Bill Campbell coming in hot. This one was featured in Inc. magazine with an interview with Jeffrey James that reads, the one thing I learned from Steve is to hire a great person for every single job in your company. Every person has to be great. You can't just accept mediocrity because it's a low-paying position. You just can't. There's somebody else out there that can take the job and do something really wonderful with it. I really hire good people and count on them to provide me with the knowledge and understanding of the position that I don't have. So I want to make sure we're getting this. If you're out there and you have people on your team, I want you to rate right now on a scale of 1 to 10 your trust in your managers. 10 being, oh, I trust my managers. 1 being, not so much. I want you to write down why. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, you can rate your managers on a scale of 1 to 10. 10, Jason, being like, wow, I really trust my managers.
Oh, yeah.
1 being not so much. And then answer the question, why? Now, question number 3. Rate your employees. Whew. Rate those employees on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. And why? Why? This is so big. Now, principle number 3 from Bill Campbell. I'll tell a little Bill Campbell story here. He believed in a structured life.
Amen.
He believed in living a structured life. Now, let me give you an example about Bill Campbell. Did you guys know that Bill Campbell woke up every day at 5:30 in the morning? He went to work out at 6 a.m. to 7. Then he went to work from 8 to 2 every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, do you know what he did after 2 o'clock every day, 2 p.m.?
What did he do?
He went to coach soccer, volunteer soccer coach.
He would.
I like
He
this
would.
guy so
and
much.
do you know what would happen if you text the guy or called the guy?
He would ignore it.
Right.
Yes.
Because he said, I want to be 100% present. He called this concept 100% listening, 100% being present.
Yeah.
He was obsessed with having the same repeatable schedule and not being interrupted. He wanted to be uninterrupted when working with the kids and uninterrupted with his wife and uninterrupted with the business. Jason, can you talk to us about the importance of being uninterrupted when you're greeting a customer up front at Elephant in the Room or being in a staff meeting?
Oh, it's super important. So with all of my coaching meetings on Mondays or the days that I'm at Elephants, open to close, so Tuesday, so back-to-back, those days I know that I have to be 100% engaged in any of the coaching clients, but then also 100% engaged in any of our newer returning customers to Elephant, because I know that the second that I break my attention from them, they feel undervalued, and I feel like I'm not doing my job. Because when it comes to the coaching client, that hour of power is theirs. I'm supposed to help them along their path, and they want to be able to confide in me, trust me, but also know that I'm there for them. So I tell every member of the team after the Elephant meeting, hey guys, from 9 a.m. till 4, you can't contact me. If it's a burning fire, here's where you go, here's who you contact, or I trust you to handle it. And then Tuesday is the same thing. Elephant people coming in, I put my phone down. I'll handle action items when there's nobody in front of me, but if I'm with a coaching client or an Elephant client or customer, that's all their time.
Dr. Breck, I want to get your take on this because
absolutely.
you see patients at your clinic,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to stay on time.
Yes.
I mean,
It's
you've got,
important.
how many patients do you guys see in a typical day maybe up there?
65, 70.
So if you go to drbreck.com, 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 and you live in the Tulsa area, and you schedule your first exam over there, your first exam, your first adjustment, the x-ray, the whole deal, is it free or
It
$1?
is free. If you go to our website, basically there's a coupon there that makes it free.
It's free.
Yeah,
All right.
drbreck.com.
So if you go there, your first exam is free. You've been doing this for a long time. You have 65 patients a day. What would happen if you got distracted and decided to take personal phone calls while helping adjust patients?
Well, I mean, there's a number of things. So even before the phone call, if I'm distracted, then you're really not getting that quality service that we were talking about just a minute ago. So it's present time consciousness. I mean, that's been my mantra, what I'm all about ever since day one. Because when I'm delivering that adjustment, it's heart to heart and soul to soul. I mean, there's an energy connection. It's not just mashing on bones. But yeah, I mean, I do not answer my phone. My family knows. Don't call me unless, even if the house is on fire, call the fire department. But I mean, if they call back to back, they know if it's not a true emergency. I mean, I'm still not going to answer the phone, but I'll get to it as quickly as I can. But if it's not a true emergency, don't even call twice.
Right.
And you've set it up where if they absolutely need to get a hold of you, they can call your office.
They can call the office. The ladies will let me know, hey, there really is an emergency.
But that's very different than the most
in
of the world.
my office, nobody. Yeah, I mean, that moment is yours.
That's very different than the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The rest of the world never does that.
Yeah. My kids aren't playing in the corner.
I had a funny story that I need to share, but it's far enough in the past where I can share it, but I will give no details as to who it may be because otherwise people will go, "You're a horrible person." This guy pulled me aside and he says, "Hey man, the other day I was, my wife and I were, kind of doop-a-doop-a-doop,
Right.
we're kind of just, doing the little doop-a-doop-a-doop."
Wedded bliss.
And I get a phone call, and I'm like, what? And he's like, I get a phone call, and I answer. I'm like, no, you didn't.
No.
You answered the phone? He's like, well, dude, it was like I saw the call coming through, and and I'm like, no. And I go, you do this a lot, don't you? Do you do this a lot? And he says, well, the other day, just the other day, we were doing a little, and then the phone rang, and I'm like, get out of here.
That's horrible.
He wouldn't turn his phone off at night.
Jeez.
And I'm like, so do you sleep with your phone on? He goes, yes. I'm like, well, how often do you get woken up with like a ding or a update or a shoo, ding? He goes, all the time.
Yeah.
I don't recall having a full night's sleep
A
in
lot
years.
of people say you shouldn't even charge it, and you're like in the same room.
Oh,
It should be in
my gosh.
another room.
So I'm just saying out there, live a structured life. Think about the things you're going to say no to. Create those new boundaries. Now, principle number 4. Bill Campbell wrote, spend your days doing, not planning. This is an example from Bill Campbell's life. He liked to spend his Saturday mornings planning, and then he liked to go 90 miles an hour during the week.
Yep.
But he spent his weekend replanning. Every Saturday, replanning, recalibrating, refocusing. But then during the week, he would just go.
Right.
Dr. Breck, when do you do most of your strategic planning?
I do it in the morning. And so, like him, my schedule is very similar. A lot of people will ask me if it seems boring or mundane, but it really doesn't. It's a matter of I know where I've got to be when and what's going on, and so I'm not guessing or trying to figure it out in the last moment. But then, we take some extra time on the weekend to, work on the business and not in the business.
Bill Campbell has another principle I want to share with everybody. It's a principle called, he says, your company must have unifying products and principles. Principle number 5. This is important because every company has its own culture. And as a coach, his job was not to create his own culture. His job was to figure out the culture that Steve Jobs wanted to create or that Jeff Bezos wanted to create, and then to help make sure that was unified. So as an example, there are a lot of people out there that should not ever apply for a job to work with me, ever. And I would say there are some people, probably 8 out of 10 people out there would hate working for me.
Right.
There is one young lady who I think it was her husband wanted to apply for a job working for us, and she says, my husband would absolutely love it there. And I'm like, this person's known me for a long time. It's like, okay, cool. Another young lady, this is probably about 2-3 years ago, I remember she pulled me aside and goes, my fiance wants to work here, but you cannot hire him because he would hate you real fast. So, Jason, talk about the culture that we have up in our office. What kind of energy, what kind of culture, what kind of speed, how does that go?
Everything is so fast, but like speaking to the last principle, having a structured life, you make it well known if you join the Thrive team or the Elephant team. Every day is structured the same way. Here's your job. Here's what you do. All of Team Thrive gets a to-do list every morning. They've got it on their clipboard, so they know exactly how it flows. As soon as we get out of our first meeting, it's just 90 miles an hour, boom, 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 but it's also still positive. Like you and John will walk around saying such encouraging things like, did you make any calls yet?
Right.
And to just keep the ball rolling, but it's still fun. But at the same time, we do work in an environment where it's do or die. Like it's, as in the words of John Kelly, it's either hell yes or hell no. And I love that. I thrive in those because I love chaos. I love energy. I love excitement.
You get to hit a gong if you close a deal. You
Yeah.
know, there's like a bell that rings when you set appointments. There's
The victory lap, high-fiving everybody.
high five, and we have employees of the week.
Energetic music over the top.
Energetic music. I mean, it's a fast-paced culture, And some people would love it, some wouldn't. But Bill Campbell was just talking about you've got to have a unifying product and principle. Another example, we had a young lady who worked with us for about a month. And Jason, she hated me. No, I'm serious. Like, she would look over at me, giving the eye of death. And we had a guy that applied for a job, shortly after she left.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, I worked with her at her previous job, and she told me that she hated you, which let me know I would love working for you because I hate her. I mean, it's just an interesting concept. So principle number 6, it is imperative that you stop infighting as soon as it arises.
Amen.
Which goes back to the Bill Campbell notable quotable, I don't take stock, I don't take cash, and I don't take boop. So, he worked for free, and as his way to give back.
Right.
But if you listen to the interview with Tim Ferriss, Eric Schmidt explains in great detail, Bill realized that usually the biggest problem facing a company is not fighting from the outside, it's usually internal implosion.
Right.
Dr. Breck, what kinds of, I know your team now, there's never any infighting in your company, and there's certainly never any in our companies there, Jason, but what kind of infighting, hypothetically, may one find within a company?
Well, thankfully, when I do hire, one of the things I tell them is, because mostly I work with women, and I just say, hey, this is a drama-free place.
Amen.
We are a family, and we're close, and we spend a lot of time together, but, man, we are going to squelch any kind of drama as soon as it arises. Because we're just not going to harbor it. We're not going to do it. Because it does. It destroys the vibe. It destroys the energy. And so, we do. I immediately bring whoever parties are involved or what comes up. As fast as I get a hold of it, I bring them in my office and say, hey, let's get down to the bottom of this. Let's resolve it and move on. Otherwise, somebody needs to leave.
Yep.
So.
I'll just give you some examples of stuff that I've seen kill cultures that it's a little too close to home for me, but I'm just going to give a lot of them.
Yep.
Just a lot. And maybe, Jason, you can put notes, some of these on the show notes here on principle number 7. 1, it's when an employee passively aggressively decides to not follow dress code.
Yeah. So
it's, you have a dress code, everyone should wear a tie. And one employee, I've been there a long time, I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. I just see dress code infractions. But it's not an aggressive, like, I'm not going to do that. They don't ever come to you and say, I'm not going to wear that tie. They just stop.
Right.
Another example is lateness,
Mm-hmm.
where it's a minute late. One day it's a minute late, and then 4 minutes late, and then 7 minutes late, and then it's a half hour late. And I think subconsciously the person who's a little bit late doesn't even think about it. But over time it becomes a new normal, and then that becomes a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Third, right now, we live in a culture of social media.
Yes.
And it's been brought up to me a lot. People say, I'm not building up my own brand. I hear this a lot. Like, very much. People say, I've been working with you for 2 years, 5 years, 6 years, 9 years, 8 years, 1 year, 6 months, and I'm not building up my own brand.
Mm-hmm.
And the NBA, National Basketball Association, they're having a huge problem with this right now. It's that each player wants to build up their own social media following more than they want to win sometimes.
Yep.
You get a lot of people, though, whether it be stylists, whether it be graphic designers, whether it be photographers, they want to build up their own brand.
Mm-hmm.
And so it sends mixed messages to the consumer because they're like, look, your photographer who works for you full-time as an employee, they have their own company over here on the side.
Right.
And they're promoting their stuff they did on the side. And the stuff they did on the side looks better than what they're doing for you. And so I'm going to call it. There's a lot of that.
Right.
Another cultural issue is,
and of course, you're not paying them, to build their brand.
Yes.
That's the key. Those owners of those athletes aren't paying them to build their own brand.
You are 100% correct. And another area of infighting is when employees are using LinkedIn, Facebook, and Indeed during the day.
Right. On your dime, they're finding a new
So
job.
what happens is they're on Facebook reading tips for how to get a raise while they're working for you half the time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You see that a lot. Another example of infighting, working with family, where you have a family member. Let's say you have a family member working for you, and one family member is supposed to be doing, like graphic design. Let's say,
Right.
and they don't get their job done. Well, you have another family member who's their boss, and they sort of just hide the jackassery of the other employee.
Right.
You have one family member who's supposed to maybe helping you with accounting. and you have another family member who's supposed to be managing them, and they just sort of skirt over it. Hiring family, that's so weird, because when you work in a company and your boss is the daughter of the founder, it can be tough to see how you could ever get promoted, because you're like, well, this guy's daughter's my boss. What's my chance to get promoted?
Right.
I mean, hiring family, it can get weird.
Yeah.
Hiring family. Other examples of infighting is people who refuse to save files the right way, as they have their own naming convention.
Right.
What happens when you can't find a core document, Dr. Breck?
Oh, it's awful. That is horrible. Actually, my sister, who runs a child care facility for a major hospital in Oklahoma City, she just had to let somebody go, and she was kind of telling me about it, but they do have a centralized system to where that person cannot delete, they can't take files with them, certain things
Right.
that they're not able to do. And it's just, it's strategic, but it's so smart. Because, they can, on their, if they have 2 weeks, they can do a lot of damage on their way out the door.
For sure.
I've got another example that's pretty crazy. It would be hiring hookers from the workplace. This has happened at least...
Never going to happen at my office.
This has happened at least twice that I know of in my companies.
Yeah.
Where you had an employee during the day literally going on to Craigslist or to order pot or drugs or prostitutes during the day. Other causes of infighting is when you have clients that hire your employees, or employees who flirt with the idea of wanting to go work for your clients.
Yeah.
So I've seen this one. This was a
Especially
one
in
that,
your business. I could definitely see that. Yeah.
dude, all the time.
Yeah.
I remember probably about 4 or 5 years ago, we had one guy working for our team, and it was on camera, but he's talking to the customer, and he's like, "So, what do you guys pay at your business?" Because they're doing like a photo shoot together. And they're like, "Well, we pay, start at this rate, that rate." Well, I'd love to come work for you, maybe. I'm not saying and there's that weird
Right.
aura. Another cause of infighting is discussing religion or politics. So let's do both real quick just to show how this works.
You bet.
All right. So Jason,
Yep.
you and I are you get to play the character of you with
Sweet.
with your real religious beliefs.
I was born to play that role.
Okay, and I'm gonna play my real religious beliefs. Okay.
Yes.
And the only difference is, in real life, you and I don't get into debates.
True.
But I'm just gonna show how this could happen real quick. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Jason, did you just see that new article on CNN about how people can't pray at work?
I did not. I don't read CNN, nor do I subscribe to anything.
I just think it's crazy that we cannot pray at work.
I mean, that's totally cool, but I don't see the point in wanting to pray at work.
I never see you praying at work. How come you don't pray at work?
I am not a religious man. I'm just here to do my job.
Well, it's okay. I mean, if you want to go to hell.
Yeah, if you believe the construct of hell is real, then we can have that argument, but I'm not.
Are you saying you don't believe in the construct of hell?
I'm saying I don't believe in anything, homie.
Where did you get off? And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, fine. And then throughout the day though, instead of asking, Jason, could you help wash the towels?
Yeah.
I might think things like, well, hopefully he can pass me the clean towels before he burns in hell. I mean, there's that kind of right. But there's a lot of that, right?
Right.
Another example. Let's go with. This will be a good one. People right now who are in favor of building a wall.
Right.
Dr. Breck, let's pretend that you are anti-wall and I'm for wall. Okay, so here we go. Dr. Breck, did you see that article yesterday on Fox about the new wall? The Pentagon's giving Trump $1 billion to build the
I know,
wall.
that's ridiculous. I can't believe they'd waste that kind of money.
I know. We should have started building the wall years ago. We're wasting so much money allowing these
kidding?
illegals to come in. There's so many illegals. I feel like our country is populated with sick birds. You get illegals,
No, these people just want to come here and work. Who else is going to do the job?
Why
do
you
we need
get
to build
off?
a wall?
Where are you?
They're just trying to keep people out.
Did you steal my food out of the microwave, you son of a... Anyway, so...
I actually saw a great photo of Tim Redmond.
Okay.
He's on a cruise right now, and it's at Senior Frogs and says, the fun side of Trump's wall. I was like, that's pretty clever.
There we go. So all I'm saying is that that's true, is that if you talk religion or politics, it's going to divide a room.
Oh, it gets ugly.
It does every time.
Every time.
Another cause of infighting. I'm just listing them all out here. Jason, let's do this one. See if you're my manager.
Yeah.
And I cut hair.
Yep.
How's it going, Jason?
That's great.
Man, it's kind of slow today a little bit. I got about a half hour here. Quick question for you.
Yeah.
How much do you get paid? Oh, see right there. That
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hey, you've seen that discussion.
Oh, multiple times.
Oh, that's a hot one. See, this is infighting.
Mm-hmm.
This is infighting. This is what it is.
Through and through.
Over and over all the time. Another cause of infighting. hey, Jason, when are we going to get our company headshots? Because I noticed that you got headshots, and I did not get headshots. And I noticed that you got them, and I did not get them. When are we going to have company headshots? Where do you get all? I mean, right? It's constantly. Am I wrong here?
Not at all.
Dr. Breck, business cards. Hey, how come Sarah has business cards and I don't? Because I know that I've been with you a little bit longer, and I pretty much believe I should have business cards too, right?
Right.
Where do you get it off? I mean, it's a constant. So all I'm saying is, you gotta
And it
stop
can be some of the
infighting.
dumbest stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
it almost always is.
Yeah.
Okay, now principle number 7. Determine your cultural values from the outset and then model them. Bill Campbell. Bill, was obsessed with keeping a set schedule, which is why he personally had a set schedule. He always woke up at 5:30, always worked out from 6 to 7, always showed up to work on time, 8 o'clock to 2, and then never answered the phone when he was gone.
Yes.
I think it'd be really, really easy for him to preach that, but to actually do that is where you start to see the culture develop. Culture is nothing but culture is what you allow to grow. That's what that word means. It's what you allow to grow, what you allow to grow within your organization. But Dr. Breck, talk to me about this. You can't preach being on time if you're not on time.
Right.
Right?
Well, and I think a lot of times, you'll have some kind of a great, business mantra or, kind of your, what's the word?
Values, mission statement.
Your mission statement, your values, and then you don't actually follow through with them. Like it's great and it's a slogan on the wall, but nobody actually performs or lives by it at all.
Right.
Like you just completely undermined everything you work to try to do to create that, or it's just walking hypocrisy. So.
It's like when people always say, "Be the change you want to see."
Yeah.
Like, but
don't ever
you're
change.
Not. You're not.
Now, speaking of Gandhi, principle number 8. He says, Bill Campbell says, don't manage your team via email.
Yes.
I'm going to read a long, notable quotable from Bill Campbell. And as I read it, I want the listeners to just marinate on this. This appeared in an Inc. magazine article by Mr. Jeffrey James. Bill Campbell on email. Remember, he's working with Google, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Intuit. The biggest companies, and they're all tech companies. And the coach that is endorsed by all of these people is telling you to get off the email. This is what he says. He says, one of the greatest boom and busts of technology, of the technology era, is electronic mail. It's one of the greatest things that's ever been constructed anywhere. It's also a crutch. Email is one of the great, great things that's ever been constructed and invented, and I'm a full supporter of it, but it's got to be used wisely. I worked with an executive who managed by email. He's read a report or something in his email folder and disagree with it, then send a memo saying something like, I think this is the stupidest thing I've ever read. And he blasted out to 6 people who'd been on the group. As a result, each person in the group who wrote him would then write him another 2 to 3 page email message explaining why the report wasn't stupid. Everybody would end up spending 45 minutes thoughtfully banging out an electronic answer. And it invariably turned out that when he blasted criticisms like that out onto the network, he would find out that they were right and that they had thought the situation through very carefully. The executive was just not aware of all the reasons that they had got to that point because he did not follow the process. I tried to tell this guy that the electronic criticism was very insensitive. It was pretty insensitive. I suggested that he and to the committee that we sit down and say, look, I really don't like this, and let me tell you why. And then they'd get a chance to say, well, let me tell you the problem. I don't know how many hours we wasted answering electronic messages just to address something that could have been settled during a brief hallway conversation. Bill Campbell.
Absolutely.
Just stop using the email to manage.
Mm-hmm.
I see it all the time. I remember we used to have a video company, and we had different managers in the video company, but when you edit a wedding video, it's like a 1 hour video, a 30-minute video. You have to send the video to someone who QCs the video. Their job is to watch the video and to check for errors. That's what you do. Your job is to watch someone else's video that they edited, doing their very best, and to find errors in the video. Right? That's the job. I mean,
that makes sense.
To find errors. So I remember we had one QCer who used to always email the responses instead of talking to somebody, and he would say, point 1, name spelled wrong. Point 2, words don't match music. Point 3, it would be great if you could ever get that right. Now, never commenting on the other, 55 things that were right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So the person who would edit it would get mad.
Yeah, only getting the negative.
So this is what would happen. They would edit the name and get that right. Then they would go in and edit the voices to match.
Yeah.
But then intentionally at the end of the video, they would write, screw you. Then the QCer would go, love it, thanks for making the changes. Then the employee would write back, well, if you weren't an idiot, you would have actually watched the video. So don't criticize me for making errors because you didn't even watch the video. Because if you did, you'd see at the end, I said, screw you. And it would all be via email.
Right.
Yep.
It would be almost explosive. And I'm just telling you, email is absolutely the worst way to communicate with people.
True.
It should only be used to confirm what was said.
Yep.
It should not be used as a way to discuss or to assign action items. Because, Jason, how often when you get an email, do you not even know what the person's talking about?
Yeah, I never know what they're talking about because with at least this is my personal take on it. Anything as far as like text-based communication, so a text message for work or email, I will only ever text or email if it's good news.
That's right.
I will always call if there's a discussion that needs to be had or if bad news needs to happen. It'll be a face-to-face meeting or a phone call because an email or a text always comes through as either insincere. There's no tone. And so people will take it how they think. It's like, well, he says a lot of things and he may have mispunctuated here, so he must be mad at me. What did I do wrong? And then they start to stew. Or it's the tone just comes across as passive-aggressive, whether the intent was there or not. So I try to just unsubscribe to all of that. And if it's good news, send it through just so it can be quick. But sometimes it may take longer to make 10 phone calls as opposed to CCing 10 different people, but you can be more specific, you can be more detailed, and there's that human element to it. That way everybody leaves on the same page.
Bill Campbell was a huge fan of starting off every meeting with building rapport, essentially celebrating wins or going over good things that happened.
Yeah.
And that for me has been the hardest part of growing a company.
Yeah.
Is having wins to start a meeting or rapport. Because on a human level, just me, I don't like that. Like, I don't. So, like, I just don't.
Yeah.
I've had to learn that.
So you just want to dive into the
Yeah,
meat of whatever we're meeting about.
I mean, I'm just being. I mean, this is how I am. Like, if you said, if I close a deal, let's say,
Yeah.
and you said, "Good job on that deal. Good job. Good job. You did a good job." Yes. I don't know what to do with that feedback. So I'm always like, "Yes,"
Thanks.
or "Okay," but I don't really process that emotion very well. I'm always like, "Okay, that is, thank you," but I do process the emotion of like, "Hey, we could do this better."
Yeah.
Or hey, here's what we can do to make that better. Or hey, I just don't do well with like praise. And I thought for the longest time that everybody else was like that. And I found that probably 99% of humans are the other way around.
See, I feel you on that though. I am. If somebody gives me a compliment, they're like I was talking to Clay Stairs on Tuesday, and he gave me a very, very nice compliment on how I'm doing coaching, and I kind of just stood there, nodded, and I was like, "Your shirt is nice," but I can celebrate somebody else's wins like to the moon and back.
And so I would just say when you start off your meeting, though, you do have to start off with that rapport. And if you have to deliver criticism, make sure you do it face-to-face
Yes.
or over the phone with some nuance. Dr. Breck, you had a hot take there.
Well, I mean, kind of back to the email thing. One of the things I've always told my team is that if the exchange is more than 1 and 2 back and forth, then it needs to be a conversation. Well, if you can face to face, and if not, definitely a phone call. But also, kind of going back to the struggle with the praise, I would say some of that is because both of you guys are self-driven, and so you get that internal motivation to keep driving and keep going, and a lot of people don't have that. And so, yeah, depending if you're not really self-motivated and driven from internally, then you need those external cues to say, hey, keep going, you're doing a good job. But, I mean, that's just an individual thing. And
I
so,
think that most people,
That was good.
most people are not internally driven. And I'll give you some
I agree.
examples of me behaving badly. This would be
those are your favorite examples.
I just think it's important that the
Some
listeners
of my
can,
favorite examples.
Well, I think listeners could learn from some self-deprecation. And these are things that I can never ever go back and fix it. So it's brutal, but it's
But
what
now
happened.
you can learn from it.
Yeah. Well, I was watching Kobe Bryant. There's a video of Kobe Bryant in practice. And Jason, did you ever see the video of Kobe Bryant in practice where he's freaking out at the team?
No. Is that? Oh, wait, I'm thinking of Dennis Rodman when he broke the scoreboard.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just show you. It's like it's like Kobe's in practice and he's not playing basketball the same way other people play basketball. So
Right.
here he is going against Jeremy Lin in practice. I know it's hard to hear what's going on, but Kobe's guarding him. And Kobe's yelling at Jeremy Lin to shoot the ball. He's guarding him. He's like, shoot,
Right.
shoot. And he talks trash the entire practice.
Yep.
And it's because Kobe has this thing he calls the Mamba mentality,
Right.
Yep.
which is he is just intense.
He-
And so he is on it. It's like he has probably 4 to 5 times more intensity than the average player.
Right.
Another example would be Russell Westbrook on the Thunder. He plays with an intensity that, like, you can't. If you're on the team, you just can't keep up with him.
Right.
And
Winning is not enough.
and
You
that's
gotta
how
take it
I've
up.
always been for business stuff. I don't understand. Like if someone says, I didn't get a chance to read the book this weekend. I got busy. I went to the lake. I don't get it because, like, I've never wanted to go to the lake. So it's nothing wrong with you if you want to go to the lake. You're a normal person. That's good. It's good. I'm not saying that in a condescending way. That's good. It's normal. But I just don't have anything else I want to do other than to be great at one thing.
Right.
And Kobe was the same way. He didn't want to travel. He just wanted to play basketball and dominate. His whole goal was to win a championship. He didn't want to go out to eat with the players. He didn't want to hang out with the players. He didn't want to go out to movies with the players. He didn't want to know what was going on with the players. And in the book 11 Rings, Phil Jackson talks about this. And Kobe's come out and talked about this a lot. He did an interview with Shaquille O'Neal where he explained to Shaq he just was so mad that Shaq showed up to camp out of shape.
Right.
He's like, how can you be out of shape? Your
Their
number one
approaches are
job is
very
to
different.
win the game. And Shaq says during the interview, he's like, all I had to do was dunk.
I'm
really
just
have-
here to have fun.
You know? And
If I
so,
can rap, if I can jiggle, I'm good.
and it really, really upset Kobe. I mean, next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have, in the past, attempted to become friends with or to allow certain people that don't have that Mamba Alpha Dragon energy to get close.
Now I'm
and
getting
every-
close to Charlie Sheen.
I'm just
A little
saying.
tiger blood in.
I'm just saying that every time they get close, it ends bad
Yeah.
Right.
because they can't keep up.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, it just doesn't go well. And so it's someone who says, hey, why don't we partner? And I'm like, oh, okay, let's partner. Well, I'm like, all right, well, hey, let's, since we're both busy, let's have our first meeting tomorrow at 5 a.m. Let's go. And they're like, 5? Can we do, 7? I'm like, no, because I already have meetings then.
Right.
And it just starts to create this, and almost every time it creates this friction
Mm-hmm.
and this tension. And then the person will ask me, like, are you mad at me? And I have made the mistake of being honest and saying, yes.
Yeah.
And so I would just say it's important that the birds of a feather flock together.
Yep.
And if you are a super duper alpha, you might want to hire somebody like John Kelly, who works with me,
Yep.
who is also alpha, but is kind of like my buffer.
Yeah.
Because John
the
is like,
edges off.
John's like my speed bump.
Yeah.
So I might be coming
Slows
at
him
90
down
miles an hour,
stupid.
90 miles an hour coming in hot. And then I see the speed bump, and then John's the speed bump.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're out there today and you're saying, I am an alpha, just please understand you've got to create a buffer, because if not, man, you're going to create some serious friction.
Well, yeah, and I have friends that want to work out with me, and I love it because I can always. They're like, "Well, what time do you work out? Let's." And I'm like, 5. I'm like, oh, great! I'll meet you.
No, I think
AM.
I'll-
And they're like, oh, AM. I'm like,
oh.
yes, I don't want to work out with you.
I don't want to work out with
I
you.
like to do what I do.
Now, principle number 9, maintain a culture of respect. Bill Campbell writes, the reality is that you have to earn leadership from the people that you're working with and who are working for you. The reality is that you have to earn leadership from the people you're working with and who are working for you. Those of you who don't know the story, Scully, a guy by the name of John Scully, he worked at Apple during the time when Steve Jobs was there. What happened is Apple was growing, and Steve was intense, and he felt like he needed a CEO. So he brought in John Scully to help manage Apple. And as is well documented, it didn't go well. And Scully ended up forcing Steve Jobs out of his own company.
Right.
Oh,
And Steve was very, very bitter about the whole thing.
understandably.
And it didn't go well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a situation where if you're out there and you have a business and you have a partner and you ever get to a place of disrespect, now it gets really, really bad. So Bill Campbell says here, he says, the title doesn't mean much unless you earn their respect as a leader. So what happened was Steve Jobs brought in Scully to be the CEO, but he didn't respect him.
Yeah.
And so it created this weird friction. And so I would just ask you right now, how much respect do you command from your team? I call it the rule of 10X. The rule of 10X. But basically, if your people don't feel like you know 10 times more about the business than they do, or you're not is 10 times more passionate than they are, or at least you're 10 times more engaged, or 10 times more invested, or 10 times more devoted, it's really hard for them to follow you.
Right.
And so you've just got to show that you're all in all the time. Dr. Breck, I mean, if you came across to your team like, being on time for patients didn't matter, what would happen quickly?
I mean, the whole thing falls apart because so much of what we do is timing, and we for us it's called the flow. So I mean, the patient flow throughout the day, from one station to the next as we work through therapies and then the adjustment, checking in and out. I mean, all of that is strategic and it's like clockwork. And so if it doesn't work like clockwork, man, we fall apart quickly, or would fall apart quickly. But yeah, we can't allow that. And so it's crucially important.
Now, Jason, I want to get your take on this next principle from Bill Campbell, because I think this next principle, I think we all agree with this. I just don't know how implementable it is by everybody.
Gotcha.
It says, be honest with your team. Now, I'm not encouraging you to lie to your team, but think about this.
Yeah.
Let's say that you're a small business owner out there listening today, and financially you have enough money in the bank for one more payroll. And a member of your team says, how are we doing, boss? Because you're really slow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dr. Breck, do you think it's wise to tell your team, hey, guys, here's the deal. We are down to our last $7, and I work all the time. And by the way, my kids hate me, and we're getting sued.
Yeah.
I mean, is there
I can only imagine the squeals of tires as they're leaving the parking lot. Yeah.
Is it? I mean, so I'm just asking you this. I mean, how much information should you share with your team in your mind?
Yeah, one of my employees, her last position, her last paycheck was that computer you're working on. Go ahead and take that home with you. I'm like, if we get anywhere near that point, we're in super duper trouble.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, yes, you want to be honest, but that does not mean you have to have complete and full disclosure. You need to be honest about what they need to know. So it's all on a need to know basis. And like you just said, I mean, the 10X, idea, you do know more and you've got a bigger picture. And if you're running your business well, you've got that 30,000 foot view as well as being, in the mixed and middle of it. Yeah, you want to be honest with what information is pertinent to their job, getting it done, and what needs to be passed on. But that doesn't mean they need to have every aspect. I mean, you might be strategically planning something, and they don't necessarily need to be in on any of that.
And this is a problem I've had with partners in the past. Is I have had partners in the past. When you're a partner, you need to disclose everything, which I do. Mm-hmm. But when you team up with people that don't have the emotional capacity to handle it,
yeah,
sure,
they'll say, "So how are we doing on Google? Where are we ranking on Google?" And you're like, "Well, we're on page 3." And they'll say, well, when are we going to be top? And you say, well, our current pace, we're 2 years away.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, 2 years?
Can't do this for
2
2
years?
years.
Right.
Ah! And you go, guys, listen. Amazon didn't make a profit for 9 years. Yeah. And they're like, 9 years? Guys, calm down. Yeah. Look at it. ESPN didn't make a profit for over a decade. A decade? Guys, listen, this is not bad. Tesla, it took them over 10 years. Tesla? I hate Tesla. What about Square? Guys, Square only took, close to a decade, 7-8 years. I hate Square and Twitter and all I hate the Dyson vacuum and all your stories. You have bad stories. I want to know a story about getting rich quick.
Right.
I don't have any of those stories.
Right.
You're a bad person.
You work hard.
Again, that's why just be so careful about who you partner with, because certain people can't handle the truth.
Well, on that note, if I could add one more thing before we close, it's a lot of people see it two ways. It's you have to be able to, when speaking to mainly employees, because partners you can be honest with, coaching clients you can be honest with, they're paying for the service or they're invested somehow. So there's a higher level of honesty you can take with them. But for somebody who is just like an employee within the company, people think there's two roads. You either need to tell them what they need to hear or tell them what they want to hear. But right in that little middle sweet spot is you tell them what they can handle. And you find, okay, I know that I can give them X amount of information without their head exploding. That way they still feel like they are going in the right direction. They are informed, but I'm not going to give them a reason to be catatonic.
As an example, I'd say 5 or 6 years ago, we had an employee who was awesome at cutting hair, but a personal disaster. They would come in and cut hair all day.
Yeah.
And then occasionally on the way out, when we were 16th in Boston, she would, Clay, how's your day? I'm like, great. How are you? As I'm walking out,
Yeah.
well, here's what's going on. I might be pregnant. And I'm like, this is multiple times we've heard this from the same person. And it's like, I am going to be praying for you.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm
or,
not your priest.
Or
but-
it's like, my ex, you wouldn't believe what he said. And it's every day.
Yeah.
There's never a time where they're out of their drama zone,
Right.
ever. And so it's a weird situation because when we had to promote somebody, I had to promote somebody for a management position.
Yeah.
And it's clear to everybody who works there, except for her, that there's no way you could put her in charge.
No
Right.
way.
And
Yeah.
Jason, why can you not put an emotionally nuclear person in charge of managing people?
Because as soon as something goes like crazy, they're going to hit that nuclear launch button. They're going to blow everything to Kingdom Come, and then it's just going to be the slow or hastily downfall of your company.
So I just remember this. I'm standing in front of our 16th in Boston location, and she goes, am I even being considered for management? And I remember going, well, your name's in the hat.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
right.
that's all you
That's
have
where
to
it
say.
is. There's a hat, and then that name, and that hat. There's 3 names, and your name is in that hat.
Yep.
And I said, what we're looking for is very emotionally stable, consistent, hardworking people. And she's like, that's what I am. That's why I know I was. And they don't even see it.
Right.
Right.
So again, that's probably the hardest. That's one of the tough principles. Principle number 11: work on the people, then the problem. Yes, Bill Campbell says it's not working, and I'm going to help you in your next role. That's how he fires people. His
So
line
good.
for firing people is, it's not working out, and I'm going to help you in your next role.
That's all you have to say.
Right.
And rumor had it he said that a lot because he believed in working on the people and not the problem.
Right.
So a lot of times there's certain people that just cannot get
Right.
anything done on time. They just can't hit deadlines.
Right.
They want to hit deadlines, but they can't hit deadlines.
Well, do they want to if they don't?
Here's what I'm saying. I don't even know. All I know is they don't hit
They
deadlines.
just can't do it here.
Right.
They might say they want to hit deadlines.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the person that says, I wanted to be on time, but they're not.
But they consistently cannot deliver.
I wanted to save the file in the right place,
I did.
but I forgot. I wanted to finish the workflow, but I didn't.
Well, and that's my line is, you're a great person, and this just isn't a great fit. And so we want to help you find a better fit.
Can I share a story about me being a bad boss?
Sure.
God, I think this is helpful for the listeners out there. We had a guy on my team who went to a Bible college locally, and he was a top sales guy, dressed sharp. This guy, woof. Jason, you would have liked this guy. You're like, this guy, woof, I like this guy.
Sounds like he kind of sounds like Ben.
Yes, but no, I cannot say that because he is Ben is worlds removed from what happened.
Okay, gotcha.
So
We
one
love you,
day
Ben.
we get to work, and he left his computer open, and there are sites like. Can you guys explain the basic premise of Tinder?
I've never used it.
It's like the movie Predator, in a sense. You just stalk people and.
It's a dating hookup
yeah.
app, right?
When you say
I mean-
hookup, what do you mean?
I mean, it is adults who are consenting to get together.
They're like in Heat.
And
Yeah.
yes.
It's like the 2 adults in Heat. They're looking for a
Yes.
partner to mate with.
Yeah,
Am I
they're
correct?
not really looking for a relationship. They're looking for a physical interaction.
Is that accurate, Jason, from your
Yeah.
perspective? Okay. So he was on something kind of like that, and he sent a girl this message, and he says, I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to be with you. I'm so excited. I can't wait to marry you and all this. But it was a site that it wasn't like a nefarious site, but it was one where it was like more of like a find hot singles near you, that kind of thing. So he flies out there, and he comes back to Tulsa. And the employees are like, how was the trip, man? And I'm not really hanging out with the guys. I'm just hearing them talk. And he's like, dude, I told her I loved her, and I have a fake name, so she doesn't even know who I am. And we got it on the whole time, and like 4 days of just getting it on, and I'm never calling her again. It's awesome.
Jeez.
And I'm like, no, because I hear about this secondhand.
Yeah.
So I pull him aside, and I'm like, did you travel to another state to meet somebody, tell them it's go under a false name, and hook up with her under the premise that you love her? Did you? And then you left her? He's like, absolutely. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah, it's awesome. And I'm like, Dad let me look into like, okay, here's what we got here.
Mm-hmm.
So I right away, I knew we had a people problem,
Right.
but he was a phenomenal disc jockey
Mm-hmm.
and a great sales guy.
Yeah.
So this is where I was being a bad boss. I should have known, got to get him out of here.
Yeah.
But what happened was I'm working with the guy. He's getting promoted through doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a call from a wedding venue on the day of a wedding of a show on my Nokia phone. Do.
Yes.
Hey, this is Clay. How can I help you? And the wedding venue says, your guy is here DJing, and he is completely intoxicated,
Mm-hmm.
and he hasn't started DJing yet.
Right.
And I just want you to know, like, he drove here intoxicated, and the only reason I'm not calling the cops is because it's someone's wedding. But you need to send somebody, take care of this.
In your company vehicle, right?
Right.
With your name blazing on the
Right.
side. Yeah.
Mm.
So I talked to the guy, and he proceeds to tell me he's nervous when he does shows, so he's always drunk
Oh,
at every show.
That'll fix it.
So again, me being a bad boss, I sit down with him, and I start coaching him on how to
Get his life together.
get his life together. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And then he goes, hey, by the way, I want you to know on a lot of the trade-out shows, like we were doing trade-outs with Outback and Magoo's and places where we would do like $600 a trade-out. They wouldn't pay us anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They would just give us gift certificates.
Okay.
But you
And
could eat.
under those situations, what I would do a lot of times, and I would like double the trade-out amount, and then I would turn it in for commission. So on the events where we didn't get paid at all,
Mm-hmm.
he would just crank up the trade-out commission to make a trade-out amount to get a bigger commission.
Wow.
Right.
And I'm like, you would do this often? He goes, yeah, no one ever caught it, And I have one more thing, because we're like, that's kind of my buddy.
Yeah.
He's like, you know how a lot of times we charge a bride $150 deposit? On the day of the wedding, they ask me how much they owe, and I say, oh, it's this amount. And they go, I thought it was $150 less than that. I thought the deposit went toward it. And he goes, no, that doesn't. And he's like, and then I would turn it in as a tip.
Yeah, he's pocketing the cash. Yeah.
Wow.
And I go, anything else? And he's like, yeah, I got one more thing. I go, what? And it just continues to be worse and
Right.
worse and worse. And so rather than firing him, I'm trying to like coach him up,
Mm-hmm.
trying to life coach him.
Yeah.
And to quote Dr. Zellner, you shouldn't be a life coach. You shouldn't be life coaching your people unless you're a life coach.
True statement.
Yeah, I like
But I mean, I used to just
I mean,
work
character
on the
flaw after character flaw after
right. So just
oof.
I would just say again, Bill Campbell says, principle 11, work on the people then the problem. Now, principle number 12, judge people by more than metrics, which we just talked about.
Yeah.
But Dr. Breck, how bad can it be, whether it's a football team, a basketball team, or a business team? Let's say your star receiver gets a ton of yards after the catch,
Right.
does great end zone dances, and goes to the Pro Bowl, but talks bad about you in media interviews and is disruptive in the locker room. How bad can it be if you have a star
Yeah,
who's
I mean,
behaving
you've seen
badly?
This, here recently, there's been some situations where that player just undermines the entire rest of the team, and so you may have a star player in football on your team, and then they're doing their one job well, but then they're doing 5 other things just horribly or undermining everybody else's efforts, and so that becomes a cancer really quickly, and it destroys the focus, the energy, the teamwork, the camaraderie. That's just not ever going to work well.
Now, principle number 13, this is one that's been very hard for me to learn as well, and again, just all examples of how I've had to learn this painfully over time. This one, I hate this principle, Bill Campbell, but it's so true. I hate that it's true. I hate it. It says principle 13, focus on the long term always. Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, reports in a Fortune magazine interview. He wrote, when there's a business conflict, you tend to get rat-holed into it. Bill's general advice has to be rise one step higher, above the person on the other side of the table, and take the long view. He'll say something like, you're letting it bother you, Eric. Don't. You see, to be successful as an entrepreneur, you have to have a sense of urgency.
Yep.
You really do.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know whether.
Well, but to kind of go back to your example of working with partners, I mean, you had to say, hey, but what's the long term? This could take a little while with Google getting to the top. I mean, like you said, you've got to keep that. You can't miss the forest for the trees, and so you sometimes have to step back, get a better perspective, and not get too bogged down in today's mire, because tomorrow's going to have a whole new set of issues.
Here are situations where I have dropped the ball. The most recent, I'll give you one, but this would be about probably 12 years ago or so. But an employee on my team said to me, they go, Clay, in a staff meeting, everyone's there. I don't get paid enough. And I look at the guy. I look at him. I said, can I ask you what you get paid? I shouldn't have gone into it there in a group setting.
Right.
And he goes, well, I'm getting like $1,000 a week. And I go, by the way, this is like 14 years ago. This is like 2004-ish. I'm like, you make $50,000 a year, conservatively.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're making hundreds. Okay. What time do you get to work, buddy? 9. Okay, what time do you leave? 5. How many days a week do you do that? 5. Interesting. What time do you think I get to work? I don't care. I just don't get paid enough. Well, you should care.
Yeah.
Because I get to work at 3 and I work till 9. Yeah, but I've had to. I only have $50,000 a year and I grew up poor. I'm like, you want to talk about poor? Let's get into it. We ended up getting this epic debate.
Which was great for everybody else to watch.
Right.
Entertaining, great. Not great for business, but entertaining.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay. So I get it. So you feel entitled. Right now. You feel entitled to speak that way to me. I get it. There's no respect there, right? Right. I get it. So you aren't being paid enough. Well, what's awesome is there's a lot of other DJ companies in our town. That's when I start getting crazy. When I start getting quiet in our town. A lot of them. And I don't think any of them pay as much as we do. But what I empower you to do as of right now is to go apply because you are fired. And he was like, I've been fired after 2 years working for you. And I'm like, oh yeah. Get out of here. So I fire him, feeling good, feeling great about it. What happened was I created like a decade enemy, like a guy who's super motivated
Yeah.
to hate me. Now, what's cool about this scenario, this job, this idea, this story, is I've only done that about 50 times. And it's because I loathe, detest, dislike chronically late, poverty-minded people.
Right.
I only understand the language of A-playerness. I have a very hard time with C-level conversations.
Right.
Now, I learned this idea from TD Jakes because I learned that I was an A player in many other situations.
Right.
But my long view, my lack of seeing the long view, is the trait of a C player. So TD Jakes talks about this. Dr. Bragg, have you heard about the giraffe and the turtle? This is so good.
Yeah, I don't think
TD Jakes says if you surveyed a giraffe, hypothetically, if they could talk, you'd say, Mr. Giraffe, what do you see up there? And they would say, oh, I see the blue skies, the green treetops. I see maybe the mountains. I see other animals. I see potential predators. I see it all because I'm super tall.
Right.
And if you said, Mr. Turtle, what do you see? And the turtle would go, well, I see the giraffe poop. I see insects. I see, no offense to all the turtles. I'm sure no turtles. Like, this is the worst turtle impression I've ever heard. But I see insects and I see dirt and I see just no hope for the future. I just see down here is this freaking turtle. I've never even seen the giraffe's face. He won't even look at me. You go ask the giraffe, Mr. Giraffe, when was the last time you talked to the turtle and you went down there to see his perspective? Well, I would never go down there. I can't even bend down there. I mean, I've never. What is a turtle? And the turtle's like, are you kidding me? Unbelievable. I mean, freaking, where does that? I hate that giraffe up there. Freaking giraffe. So what happens is both people are being honest from their perspective.
Right.
This was so freeing for me.
Right.
To understand that the turtle is reporting what it believes to be true based upon what it sees. And the giraffe sees what it knows to be true from its perspective.
Right.
And if you, as a giraffe, will not go down to the level of the turtle, at least for a moment, to figure out what the heck they're talking about, they are going to leave in a very, very unfavorable, unpositive, super negative, bad way.
Right.
It's going to end in an epic, abysmal, terrible way. You've just got to get down there. And Jason, you do this a lot. I see you do this.
Yeah, I just had a conversation like that this past week. It was before we decided to do the whole ideal schedule sheet.
Yeah.
Which was kind of just serendipitous. So I want to say it was probably around Tuesday or Wednesday. But I was talking to an employee, and they were talking about how they want to change their hours. They feel like they work too much. And so I said, okay, well, how many hours do you work a week? And they said, well, definitely under 40. It's basically the whole 9 to 5 thing, but I just can't handle it, and I just feel like I need to change my hours. And so I always joke, I'm like, hey, if you want to swap schedules, I would love to swap schedules with you. And so they was like, well, you work crazy hours. How do you do it? And I was like, well, I think about it like this. You go into it thinking, oh, I work this 9 to 5 schedule. I am at work during these hours, not doing the things that I want to do personally. But the way I look at it is, you work 9 to 5, I work 5 to 9, homie. I get up at 4. My day starts at 5. I start my action items. Typically, I will get done, and I'm home still working until about 8:30 or 9. And I do that 6.5, almost 7 days a week now.
But you're in the growth phase of your life.
Exactly.
You're wanting to accumulate some wealth, some assets.
And I let him know, I was like, look, I'm looking at the long term, which going back to Bill Campbell's thing is, I know that this is momentary. I'm doing all of this now and grinding, as us millennials would say, hashtag workflow. But I'm doing all this right now knowing that this isn't what I'm going to do forever.
Now, Bill Campbell's principle number 14 he shares is be yourself.
Yes.
Again, I want to just make sure we're getting this. Everybody out there listening, except for you, the listener, just me, and not Dr. Breck or Jason, it's just other people, not even you, the listener, but it's friends of yours.
Right.
We all have like kind of a bad part.
Sure.
So I'm going to write down, I encourage all the listeners right now, write down your best character trait and your worst character trait. Now make sure you set this on fire so that way no one sees it. But I'll just give you an example. For me, I prefer isolation. That is my worst character trait. Very good for business, but very, for life. It's just, it's like, hey, we're on family vacation. Why is Dad standing by himself on the deck, looking out over the trees? Well, your father prefers to be alone. It's a weird. That's weird,
right?
Now, if you get into it, when you say why, I stuttered a lot as a kid, and got made fun of a lot, and had some abuse stuff that happened, and my parents dealt with it as soon as they knew about it, and it's fine. I mean, it's a great family. I wouldn't change anything about how I was raised. All I'm saying is that we all have some sort of justification to explain why we do that.
Right.
Somebody else, you're like, your character trait that's bad is you're pretty vague a lot. You just kind of, that's a natural character trait. You just, like, you'll say, like, if you're supposed to be there at 3, you'll tell someone, just meet me around 3. If someone says, how much was that sales ticket? And the ticket was like $1,050, you'll say, around $1,100. Because you're just kind of a general person.
Right.
Kind of vague. You don't like the details. You kind of just, I'm more of a vision person. Somebody else out there, you have no vision because you worry about everything.
Yeah.
All you do is look at legal documents and go, what if we get sued?
Right.
I can't do it. So we all have somebody out there, you're funny in a cutting way.
Right.
That's your bad trait, right?
Yeah.
You cut people down. Somebody else, you just love to stir up gossip. If there's not a gossip, you for some reason, that's your deal. You just love to stir it up. Somebody else, you're out there, you're saying, I'm always a little bit late. I'm late a lot. Someone else says, I don't save money. I just like to, as soon as I get it, I spend it. We all have some character trait that's not good. So when Bill Campbell's talking about being yourself, he's talking about being yourself in a positive way.
In your best qualities.
Your best qualities. So don't hide those best qualities from the world. But if you have bad qualities, don't run around being the office M&M saying, well, I'm just being real. Because that's going to get you fired.
Right.
Now, Bill Campbell, as we kind of get into who Bill Campbell was, Bill Campbell obviously was the inspiration for the $1 Trillion Coach, the leadership playbook of Silicon Valley's Bill Campbell, written by Eric Schmidt, Alan Eagle, and Jonathan Rosenberg. But a lot of people don't know is that he was considered as the secret coach to countless technology entrepreneurs, including, as I mentioned before, Steve Jobs, Larry Page, Sergey Brin, Jeff Bezos. But people need to know this. He started out somewhere. He was a football coach for Columbia University, and then he worked as a marketing executive at Apple. He also worked at Kodak, and he went on to become the CEO of the accounting software maker Intuit, and he also served on Apple's board. So he wasn't just a random guy running around pontificating, giving people life tips. He was a sincere guy who had a path. So from age 27 to 33, he was an assistant football coach at Boston College. 27 to 33. Jason, how old are you?
I am 26.
Okay, so from 27 to 33, he's coaching football at Boston College, an assistant coach. Age 34 to 39, I'm 38. He was the head football coach of Columbia's football team, the Columbia Lions, from 1974 to 79. But then he decided, you know what? I have got to do something with my career beyond where I'm stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's too late, Dr. Breck, to switch careers at age 39?
No.
You don't?
No. I
Why?
mean, that hits really close to home. I'm 39. I think
But I think
there's
it's
a lot
easy
of
to
things you could do. I mean, or I could do. I mean, the listener out there. I mean, there's a lot of people who didn't really get started until after this point, and I think a lot of people say, "Well, it's too late," or "I've already missed my opportunity,"
Yeah.
and that's bull. I just don't buy into that. I think if you have that passion, you have that drive, you've got the wherewithal and the idea, you've got something that you want to see come to fruition. I mean, go for it. You only got one life to live. Make the very most of it.
So
and if you're not wasting so much time, watching TV or sleeping for 10 hours a day, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity time that you may not really be realizing. Grab it and use it.
And
Go.
quick fact here, real quick. Quick fact. We do this show every day, so I've got these stats baked into my cranium. And Jason, you can put a link to in the show notes.
Yeah.
But the average American, according to Nielsen, watches TV 5.2 hours per day
Yeah.
and is on social media over 2 hours a day. So
Crazy.
that is almost a full-time job for most people. And after breaks, it is a full-time job.
Sure.
But I'm saying to you out there, at the age of 39, he was coaching football.
Mm-hmm.
Unsuccessfully, I might add. Because Columbia is not necessarily a powerhouse for football.
Not known for it.
So after the age of 40, he decided to join J. Walter Thompson, the advertising agency, and then Kodak, where he rose to run Kodak's European business systems. He ran the European film business. Now, in 1983 okay, so this is like age 43. This is what's crazy. He left Kodak, which was a $14 billion company,
Right.
to join Apple, a $90 million company. And his own mother thought he was crazy. Now, listen out there, Thrivers. At the age of 43, he left a huge company, Kodak, a $14 billion company. Kodak was huge. Remember before smartphones? Everybody was printing that stuff.
Yeah.
He left that company to go join Apple. All right, age 43. Then, while working for Apple, he was hired to become Apple's VP of marketing and then to run Apple's Claris software division. From that point forward, when Scully refused to spin Claris off into its own independent company, Campbell decided to move on. He left. Then he ran Intuit, and he went on to have major success running Intuit. Now, at a certain point, after the age of 50, all right, Bill Campbell, after the age of 50, he decided to become the CEO of a company called the Go Corporation, a startup pioneering in the tablet operating system industry. So we've all seen the iPads, the iPhones. They have that touchscreen technology. That's what he worked on. And the Go company was sold at a certain point in 1993 when Bill Campbell was 50 to AT&T. So at the age of 50, he starts career 3.
Yeah.
And let me tell you about career 3. He says, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work for free. So in 1997, age 57 and beyond, he began to work with Steve Jobs for free. Starts working with Amazon for free. Started working with Google for free. Started working with Facebook for free. You got to listen to the interview with Eric Schmidt on the Tim Ferriss Show. You can hear all this stuff. But what would make a man want to work for free? What would motivate a man? Well, I'll say this.
His higher purpose, yeah.
He's 57. He knew. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to be alive forever. I already have enough money.
Yeah.
But I would encourage everybody out there to divide your life into 3 parts. And one of my mentors back in the day, a Jewish guy, he told me this. He said, Clay, break your life into 3 parts. I said, okay, what are the parts? He says, part 1, learn. He goes, between age 1 and 25, your entire focus should be learning. Now, if you don't actually start working for a job or a boss where you can learn a lot until you're like, late 20s, you got to extend that out a little bit. So maybe earn until you're, learn until you're 30, 35.
These aren't strict, but
Right. But the first 30 of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Next phase, he says, earn. So
Right.
ages 25 to 50 or 30 to 60, just earn. Focus on being profitable. Stop volunteering at crazy things that don't make money. Stop participating in every association possible. Stop. You got to earn something. Now, the final chapter of your life, focus on returning. Learn, earn, return. And that advice has really made an impact on me.
Right.
Because I think you can get it confused.
Sure.
You can kind of mix it up, and if you don't think about life that way. But I have a huge amount of respect for a guy that worked for free from age 57 until the time of his death. And so much so that what I'm going to do in the show notes, Jason, is when we wrap up today, I'm having you put a link to every article that you can find that has been written about Bill Campbell.
Oh, I'm on it.
And every video interview about Bill Campbell that you can find.
Well, and I'm
and
sure
all the books written about Bill Campbell. I want a huge list of links.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Because everybody should know
Great
the
guy.
guy. I mean,
Yeah.
all of these big companies, Dr. Breck, they're the biggest companies in the world. All of them
Absolutely.
attribute their success to one guy.
which is incredible. But also, I think it probably gave him a huge amount of freedom that he's not attached to the results. He's not, not being compensated based on how this goes. He has the freedom to say, and if you don't like it, hey, you didn't pay for it. I mean, he's going to run the way he wants to run, and he doesn't have to answer to anyone. He can give that brutally honest truth without having to feel like, oh, but I've got to earn my check. No, he's free from all of that. He's able to create a system and a way to rise above it, to be passionate about what he does, to give his all, and then also at the end of the day, with his blocked schedule, walk away and say, this is my wife's time. I gave you your time. I'm done, and I'm doing my thing with my wife, my kids, my grandkids. I'm doing my soccer coaching. So I think that's a beautiful thing.
Bill Campbell, I can't tell you how much we appreciate what you've done. Your life certainly deserves an ovation. Being that I've been doing coaching since 2008, I'm very familiar with your life, but I know a lot of people aren't. So if you're out there today and you have learned something, why don't you go pick up a copy of $1 Trillion Coach? It's a book you can buy on Amazon right now, The $1 Trillion Coach, written by Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, endorsed by Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook, the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, John Doerr, the top venture capitalist, Susan, the CEO of YouTube, everybody.
Small players.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you got to go pick up that book because Bill Campbell, I'm just telling you, there's so many principles that he teaches that if you could just implement one or two of the principles in that book, it can have the power to change your life. My name is Clay Clark. I am a business coach. I'm the father of 5 kids. That's Dr. Breck over there. And Dr. Breck is an unbelievable chiropractor. And if you're out there and you're saying, I got some kind of a pain in my spine, got some allergy issues, I need an adjustment, go to drbreck.com, DRBRECK.com, drbreck.com. And when you go to drbreck.com, there you can schedule your free exam, your free x-ray, and your free adjustment, all for free there by going to drbreck.com. And we like to end each and every show with a boom. Jason, are you psychologically ready to leave the boom?
Yes.
Dr. Breck, are you chiropractically ready to leave the boom?
I am ready.
Is your spine in line?
My spine's in line. I'm
Here
ready
we
to
go. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. What if one awkward, potentially even harsh conversation had the opportunity to serve as the catalyst that would forever change your life? My name is Clay Clark, and I'm the father of 5 kids. I had a goal to be a millionaire before the age of 30 and to hire my dad. And after I achieved my goals, I've spent the vast majority of my professional career helping people like you. Because I care enough about you, I'm willing to have that tough conversation with you today. Because I believe in your future and I know of your dynamic ability to change. Are you tired of chasing your rainbow dreams and being one of the 90% of American businesses that fail every single year? Are you tired of feeling stuck and being one of the 70% of Americans that hates their jobs? Are you looking to build a real business that will realistically create both time and financial freedom for you and your real family while you're still on Earth and healthy enough to enjoy it? Are you done with the pyramid schemes, the get-rich-quick hype programs, the no-money-down real estate scams, and those quasi-religious, feelings-focused motivational seminars? Are you looking for the practical and actionable business systems and processes and the strategies that both Dr. Zellner and I have used to build 13 multi-million-dollar real businesses? My friend, these are real companies. We're talking about a real multi-million-dollar optometry clinic, a real multi-million-dollar wedding photography service, a real multi-million-dollar durable medical equipment company, a real multi-million-dollar men's grooming franchise, a real multi-million-dollar marketing company, a real multi-million-dollar auto auction, a bank, a top 10 iTunes podcast in the category of business, and an Amazon best-selling book. So are we lucky? Do we just know how to pick the right industry, or do we know the proven path? My friend, why do 90% of businesses fail, yet all of our businesses don't? What if you knew the proven systems too? Would you too earn financial freedom? But will the system work for you? Well, I don't know. Call Rachel and Tyler Hastings with the Delricht Clinical Research in New Orleans. These folks have implemented our systems over the past 22 months, and they are now making an incredible monthly profit with Delricht Clinical Research of over $100,000 per month. Will the system work for you? I don't know. Call Thomas Crossan with Full Package Media in Dallas, Texas, and ask him what it feels like to go from being a startup to grossing over $100,000 per month with his real estate photography business within 26 months of joining our program and implementing the proven business strategies. But will the system work for you? I don't know. Call Rachel and Ryan with Tip Top Canine and ask them what it's like to grow their dog training business from just one location to over 8 locations within just 24 months, implementing our proven business coaching system. But will the system work for you? I don't know. Call Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes and ask him what it feels like to be Oklahoma's largest home builder and what it feels like to increase the amount of inbound leads that he receives by over 300% within just 18 months of implementing our proven system. So what does it cost? And what's included in this system? My friend, the Thrivetime Show business coaching program is now enrolling just 2,500 people out there just like you into our exclusive Ultimate Business Coaching Program. This program includes 1 ticket to the 2-day, 15-hour, and the world's highest and most reviewed business workshop at the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This program will allow you exclusive access to email your questions to info@thrivetimeshow.com, where they can be answered on the podcast and the live radio show broadcasts. This program will give you access to over 2,500 business training videos taught by people like the former executive vice president of Walt Disney World Resorts, who once managed over 40,000 employees and 1 million customers per week. You can learn leadership, taught by the iconic investor and 2-time NBA champion, 2-time gold medalist, and NBA MVP David Robinson. You can learn public relations, taught by the PR consultant of choice for Nike, President Bush, President Clinton, Prince, Michael Jackson, Nancy Kerrigan, and Charlton Heston, and countless other world-class mentors. And my friend, you will gain exclusive VIP access to get a behind-the-scenes look at our businesses, including the elephant in the room. How do the systems work? Dr. Robert Zellner and Associates, how do the systems come together? And the Z66 auto auction. Okay, so what does the world's most effective and practical business school cost you? Well, if you went to the University of Tulsa and studied at a private school, you won't learn anything that will help you to start or grow a real business, and it will cost you $40,221 per year. Now, if you went to Oral Roberts University, where I personally went to school, and studied business at yet another private school, you still won't learn anything practical there either that will help you to grow a successful company. But it will cost you $41,024 per year. So let's do the math. That means that the Thrivetime Show Business School without the BS experience is $39,993 less per year than the University of Tulsa. Again, that means that the Thrivetime Show Business Coaching Program is $39,993 less per year than the University of Tulsa. And that's why we've made our program exclusively available for just 2,500 people like you at a cost of just $19 per month, which comes out to a whopping $228 per year. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. Thrive Nation, this is your opportunity to experience the world's best business coaching program for $20 a month. So why wouldn't you do it? Well, according to studies conducted by Nielsen, other people, not you, but the average American is watching TV 5.2 hours per day and consuming 2.3 hours per day of social media. And so they don't have time to invest $19 per month in a coaching program. Did you know that according to Forbes, 88% of the world's rich people spend 30 minutes per day reading and studying on how to improve their practical business skills? My friends, I'm a father of 5 kids, and I know that my kids get to enjoy the fruits of my financial freedom, not because I'm a genius, but because I know the proven systems. I took the ACT 3 times. I had to take algebra 3 times just to pass. I got kicked out of college. Trust me, if I can do it, you can too. My friend, you have nothing to lose, but you will lose by default if you do nothing. So are you going to act and take advantage of this exclusive offer before all 2,500 spots are taken? Or are you just going to become yet another sad example of the 90% of American businesses that fail and the 70% of Americans, according to Gallup, that hate their jobs? Reserve your spot and enroll in the world's best business school today at thrivetimeshow.com. It's just $19 a month. Reserve your spot and enroll in the world's best business school today at thrivetimeshow.com. My friend, it's just $19 per month, and there's only 2,500 spots available. How much growth have you had from since you and I first met to now, as a percentage or something?
Oh gosh, I'm guessing, but at least 400% since we started, and that was through COVID. Our sales are 4 times higher than they were since we started.
I just want people to reflect on that for a second, because I talk to people every day, Lindsay, who come into my place just like you do. People that come in, they're maybe not feeling healthy, and they come to you for treatments. People come into my life and they go, my husband and I were contractors, we're dentists, we're doctors, we're lawyers. I just got off the phone with a lawyer he's a great lawyer. He went to college. He's checking all the boxes. He has the degree, no customers. What do you say? The guy, I just talked to a guy just a moment ago, and he's in a different state, and he's going, I have the degrees, I've got the accolades, I've got the resumes, I don't have any customers. And you can tell he's right on the verge of a breakdown, in need of a breakthrough. What do you say to somebody who can kind of maybe feel like they're overwhelmed with this whole entrepreneurship thing?
I say it's doable. I have a husband that has a high demand career. He works 80 hours a week in the fall. We have 7 children together. They're all active in sports. So I know what a full plate looks like, and it's not impossible to be successful as an entrepreneur. You've got to follow the recipe. You may feel like Clay's given some advice that feels redundant, but it does work. And it doesn't require you to completely leave your other obligations alone. I'm at my kids' sports. I'm there for them on the weekends. I get them carpooled everywhere, and I still own a multi-million-dollar business.
Now I'm going to get into the details. I want everybody to listen to what I'm saying, but as I'm getting into the details, please understand, folks, everything I'm saying does not matter if you don't wow your customers, okay? So everything that I'm saying to you right now is predicated on the premise that you will wow your customers. Okay, Thrive Nation, on today's show, I am so fired up for you to meet 2 people. One, there is an unbelievable cheesecake business I work with based in Oregon who's doubled her company in the last 12 months, and you're going to love the story. And the second business, actually the first one on today's show, we've had the opportunity to work with this wonderful company for years, and one half of the team behind the scenes that makes Revitalize Medical Spa happen is today's guest, Lindsay Blankenship. Welcome to the Thrivetime Show. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Hey, well, I'm going to pull up your website real quick because I want people to know that you're not a hologram and you're a real person. So Revitalize Medical, that's the business, revitalizemedicalspa.com. Tell us about the services that you guys provide there at revitalizemedicalspa.com.
Well, we provide all of your basic aesthetics like Botox and Juvederm fillers, all sorts of different brands of toxin fillers as well. And then we've added hormones, wellness, weight loss, peptides. That's kind of really the niche that I've sprung into, that I just love and adore, and watching people feel better about themselves again and feeling like they're 20 again. So we do everything. We love women feeling like themselves again.
Let me ask you this. If we go back to when you were 20 again, did you want to run a medical spa when you were, and I know you're still 20, but did you have that vision when you were 19 that you wanted to run a medical spa, or how did you arrive into this wonderful, thriving business that you've built?
Well, I think it's a little bit of a God thing. I never wanted to be a business owner. I always wanted to be a doctor as a little girl. Discovered a PA school as an option that seemed to fit me better. And then I met another PA who was my business partner now, and we just decided to get trained in Botox together, do it on the side, and we treated people right, have great customer satisfaction, and so it just exploded into this huge business with 3 locations. So we couldn't be happier now, but neither one of us had the entrepreneurial dream when we were 20.
What is a PA? For people that don't know that language, that nomenclature, what does PA stand for?
PA is a physician assistant. So I describe it to my kids as kind of in between a nurse and a doctor. We can prescribe. We have much more privileges than an RN, but not quite as many as a full-fledged MD. We can't do surgery by ourselves, but we can do all the aesthetics and weight loss and wellness and take care of people. So that's who we are.
Now, for a lot of our listeners, we've got about 1 million people a week that will download the show. Obviously, there's some listeners that will listen to 2 shows and some listen to 1, but there's about 1 million people a week that will download this broadcast on the various channels. And a lot of them live right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Some of them don't. For anybody who's in the Tulsa area, tell us about the services that you provide. Maybe kind of for anybody who's going, they're not at all familiar with your industry, or maybe who's your ideal and likely customer or buyer? Who's a good fit for you guys there at revitalizemedicalspa.com?
Well, we treat men and women, but mostly women. As you start to notice differences in aging, whether that's physically on your face or in your body or how you feel. So pretty much, 35 and up is kind of our prime market, but we do have some 20-year-olds, we have some 80-year-olds, but mostly that kind of mid-age mom that's not feeling like she used to and just wants to freshen up, like I said, on the outward appearance or from the internal aspect.
Now, I can say this. You and I have worked together long enough now. I think it's been about 5 years, and I know people that have gone to your facility that speak very highly of your facility. How did you originally come in contact with us and my team? Do you remember how that happened, or how did you initially come in contact with us?
I know it was Krista, my business partner. She's the other 50% of Revitalize. She had a connection, word of mouth. I think it was somebody that was elephant in the room connection, maybe. I don't know. It was
a haircut business. Okay.
Referral.
Yeah. And I just want to encourage somebody out there, somebody watching today's show, and they feel like you. They feel like, wow, I'm a mom. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I'm a dad. I somehow have found myself being an entrepreneur. And you guys, over the past 5 years, you guys have had tremendous growth, and now you're opening up your 3rd location. So I've got a few questions here for you. One is, how much growth have you had since you and I first met to now, as maybe as a percentage or something?
Oh gosh, I'm guessing, but at least 400% since we started, and that was through COVID.
So you're saying, just to be clear, you're saying you've grown 4 times larger than you were since you and I've met. That's a real.
Yes, our sales are 4 times higher than they were since we started.
I just want people to reflect on that for a second, because I talk to people every day, Lindsay, who come into my place, just like you do. People that come in, they're maybe not feeling healthy, and they come to you for treatments. People come into my life and they go, my husband and I were contractors, we're dentists, we're doctors, we're lawyers. I just got off the phone with a lawyer he's a great lawyer. He went to college. He's checking all the boxes. He has the degree, no customers. What do you say? The guy, I just talked to a guy just a moment ago, and he's in a different state, and he's going, I have the degrees, I've got the accolades, I've got the resumes, I don't have any customers. And you can tell he's right on the verge of a breakdown, in need of a breakthrough. What do you say to somebody who can kind of maybe feel like they're overwhelmed with this whole entrepreneurship thing?
I say it's doable. I have a husband that has a high demand career. He works 80 hours a week in the fall. We have 7 children together. They're all active in sports. So I know what a full plate looks like, and it's not impossible to be successful as an entrepreneur. You've got to follow the recipe. You may feel like Clay's given some advice that feels redundant, but it does work. And it doesn't require you to completely leave your other obligations alone. I'm at my kids' sports. I'm there for them on the weekends. I get them carpooled everywhere, and I still own a multi-million-dollar business.
Now I'm going to get into the details. I want everybody to listen to what I'm saying, but as I'm getting into the details, please understand, folks, everything I'm saying does not matter if you don't wow your customers, okay? So everything that I'm saying to you right now is predicated on the premise that you will wow your customers. Every advice I'm giving you henceforth only works if you wow your customers. So step number one, you've got to be intentional about gathering testimonials from real customers that really like you. And I'm going to give you a backhanded compliment. You're like the best kept secret in Tulsa. You guys do such a great job and customers love you, but it's not in your nature to, brag on yourself. And so the process of gathering actual testimonials from actual customers, that's been something you've learned to do. Could you talk about that for a second? Because before I met you, you were already wowing your customers. We needed to gather case studies and testimonials from real people. Could you talk about that?
Sure. Yes, Krista and I are medical people. We are not salespeople, and we hate asking people for things. But it works, and they're happy to do it if they love you, and if you treat people right, they love you. And sure enough, the majority of our referrals are from Google reviews or video testimonials, and they really don't mind helping you out when they love you. People love to talk about what they love. So
now tracking. Again, none of this matters if you don't wow your customers, which is what you do. You have to track. What we measure what we treasure. So your husband is in a profession where they track the amount of points that are scored. Anybody out there who watches sports, if you're watching a game that matters, they're keeping score. But for some reason in business, people don't track. They don't measure by default. Can you talk about the importance of measuring what you treasure and you and your business partner diligently tracking the numbers every week?
I think what's helped us with tracking the most is encouraging each other when you feel like you're going through the motions and you're working your tail off and not realizing how much you're growing. The tracking is vital. Also seeing where our leads are coming from and knowing all this Google review stuff is actually working is vital. I think knowing where our money's going is important, and just kind of blindly doing it without knowing any of this is not helpful in your growth.
And working with you, one thing, just to be very transparent with our listeners, I charge you a flat monthly fee. You know what the fee is going to be every month. It's a flat monthly fee. That's how I work. But there's a lot of vendors, and I'm sure you've dealt with them in the past over these last few years, that if you're not careful, they're going to send you an invoice for something you didn't ask for. They're going to send you some. Just today, I got a massive invoice, over $5,000 from a vendor that I never agreed to. And it's usually in those professional services. It's normally in the legal and the accounting and the real estate. And they hit you with these fees. And if you're not careful, if you don't fight for your profitability, nobody will. Could you talk about that a little bit? Because, and again, we're flat rate. That's what we charge you. It's a flat rate. But I'm sure you've started to see vendors try to solicit invoices and charge you for things. Could you talk about that, about watching your numbers?
Absolutely. I think greed is so dangerous, and other people that claim to be helping you or contracting with you see your sales or see some very intimate information like your bookkeeping, and all of a sudden they think they deserve more or a percent of your gross sales or whatnot. And so I think finding the right fit is super important. I think knowing the fees up front and making sure you're signing or not signing contracts is vital in especially as you grow, because people want a piece of your money.
Well, in the final 5 minutes I've got you here today, I want to ask you this here. For anybody out there that hasn't been to one of my conferences before or hasn't worked with us before, I always hear horror stories, as recently as just a moment ago from this attorney. And he's like, I went to this guy's conference. Next thing you know, it's like $7,000 a month once you add up all the fees, and it's just this crazy contract I found myself in. And he was struggling to even grasp the idea that we do month to month and it's flat rate. And he's like, well, how long do you work with your clients? And I'm going, well, the average client's usually with us until they sell the brand. I mean, 6 years or 7 years, or I don't know. I mean, OxyFresh has been 18 years. Could you talk about the impact it's made on your business, knowing that, that we're a flat rate and you don't have to think about all the stuff we do in the background for you?
Yes, it's super important. And I think when we do analyze our tracking and our costs and where we can cut costs, our business coach is never on the table as far as that goes, because we know it's a flat rate. You're not going to hike up prices on us. And all the recipe you've given us for success is working. So, and just the accountability, like we would probably slack a little bit on those video testimonials if you weren't at us weekly about it. But I think it's important and it's invaluable, the price you pay.
Now, I have two final questions for you. You have a great team. For anybody out there, if you haven't been to the website, I encourage everybody out there. This is a pro tip for everybody out there. If you're watching today's show and you go to revitalizemedicalspa.com, just that traffic helps increase the rank of someone's website. So if you want to help your friends, go to their websites. It helps increase their rank in the search engine. So I encourage everybody, no matter where you're watching from, go to revitalizemedicalspa.com. But when we go to your website, you have a great team. And that's why I try not to tell, my wife is a cheerleading mother. We have kids in cheerleading, and I try not to tell anybody at all that I work with you. I watch it happen, and I hear people all the time brag about, oh my gosh, that's the place to go. They're awesome. They're great. But you have great people. You have great people. Could you talk about why you're so intentional about who you hire there at your business?
Yes. I think we had to learn the hard way. We hired some bad apples to finally find the good apples. Our team is amazing. You've got to find like-minded people. I think our patients too make the business. I think we've learned to be picky with who our market is, and some people want a look that we don't want to give. And so we tell them, and we're not scared to turn away clients and say, we're probably not your best fit. So that helps a lot, finding your ideal and likely market and being specific with that and picky. And same with your employees. That's so important. Don't settle. Don't ever settle, because it'll bite you in the butt.
Now, my final question I have here for you, I'm pulling it up right now, and I'm going to show you some data. You're a smart woman. You're an analytical person. You look at things, so I'm not assuming you just to blindly believe these numbers. But this is the U.S. debt clock. This is the website that tracks the national debt, and you might see people post about this. And we're going to try to focus on these numbers, but I want to zoom in on one number in particular. In a country of 341 million people, Americans, we only have 8.9 million self-employed people. Now, just to give you some background on this, folks, just some perspective, if 10% of our population was self-employed, we would have 34 million self-employed people, but we don't. And so if 3% of our population was self-employed, we would have 9 million self-employed people-ish, but we don't. Folks, we are talking about, we only have, 2%-ish of the American population that is self-employed. And then according to Inc. magazine, this is going to blow someone's mind here. According to Inc. magazine, and the U.S. Chamber has their own studies too, but 96% of businesses fail. Think about that. I mean, by default, most people have no idea where they're going. And by default, they fail. So as you are triumphantly opening up your third location, can you talk about just the peace of mind you have knowing that you're following a proven plan? Because everybody else by default seems to be guessing and failing, and you guys are following this plan. You're doing it week after week. Now you're opening up the third location. Can you talk about just maybe the peace of mind you feel following a proven plan?
It's worked. It's worked through 3 locations, and we're about to move into this brand new building for our third location. And because it's worked historically in the past, we just trust it's going to keep working. We always, at the end of the year, when we're looking at our total sales, it always blows us out of the water. It's way over what we predicted or shot for, and it's because we follow the process. We do the work, and it works.
Now, I'm not going to mention your husband, what he does, but I'm just going to say this. You guys are great people. I think your husband is first class. I think you're great. You and one of my clients in Oklahoma City are the only people that I know who have 7 kids. I have 5 kids. I've read stories about people that have more than 6 kids, but you guys have 7 kids. You're doing it. Everybody out there, I'm telling you, if Lindsay can find time to do it, you can do it too. Lindsay, the final 30 seconds, I'll give you the final word. What do you want to say to everybody out there who's watching today's show, maybe feeling a little overwhelmed, struggling to find the time to do it? You're doing it. What would you say to anybody out there watching?
Well, thank you, first of all. I think I'm my husband's biggest fan too, and he's awesome. My biggest advice is don't give up. You can do it one day at a time, one step at a time. Again, I work 28 hours a week now, and I have 7 kids and this multi-million-dollar business that we just keep opening more locations, and it's doable. We do the hard work. We don't slack off in any department, but it's worth it. And I wouldn't trade being my own boss for anything in the world.
Well, it's an absolute honor to serve you, and I appreciate you carving out time. And just so people know, you're having massive success. I called Lindsay. I said, is there any way you could hop on the show to encourage some of our listeners? She did not call me. She's a very humble person behind the scenes. And I appreciate you stepping out of your comfort zone to be here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I can say just from this last January to last January, if you just took that month with our online shipping orders, we grew 240%. I would say two things, and you did not pay me at all to say this, but I would definitely go to one of your conferences, because what I tell people, it's not a motivational conference, it's an action-packed conference, and you're going to learn the steps to grow your business and scale it if you want.
If your mom has a sweet tooth, you might want to listen up. We recently talked to an Albany-based cheesecake company led by a mom with an inspirational story and some delicious decadent cakes. Check it out. I'm joined now by the owners of Beloved Cheesecakes, Jen Jacobson-Brusa and Gabe Jacobson. Thank you both for coming on. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you so much.
Folks, on today's show, we have the pleasure, the honor to be joined with a real longtime client of mine, a wonderful lady. She's built a wonderful business called BelovedCheesecakes.com. Jen, welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Clay.
Hey, I was good. The reason why I wanted to interview you on today's show is that at the conference we did, the last conference we did, you came up for a while. We had you do kind of a question and answer session. And we had one particular conference attendee that was telling me they were very inspired by the fact that you are just on your grind. You're implementing these action items. And they were saying that they felt through hearing you talk about how you were embracing the grind and diligently implementing the action steps that we've been coaching you through, it inspired them that they too could do it. So I wanted to ask you first, how did you originally hear about us or the coaching program that we offer here at the Thrivetime Show?
My first time hearing about you was at the Reawaken America Tour in Oregon of 2022.
Okay. And you know, we've worked with you since that time, and it's been really spectacular to watch you grow your business. For the listeners out there that aren't familiar, I'm going to pull up your website. It's belovedcheesecakes.com, belovedcheesecakes.com. Tell us about the business, how many locations you have, and just kind of give us a little bit of familiarity into your business there.
Yeah, so I started Beloved Cheesecakes 5.5 years ago as brick and mortar in a small town, Silverton, Oregon. And that was 8 months before the lockdown. And anyways, end up having you come on board, and we've been growing. We now have 2 brick and mortar locations, have an online presence, and now I'm in a prestigious, like, bougie grocery store and 20 different restaurants and growing.
So let's talk about it real quick here. Jack Welch, the CEO of GE, and I'm not trying to paint you into a corner, and I don't expect you to be a Jack Welch expert, but he did grow GE by 4,000%. He's also the best-selling author of a book called Winning. He wrote the following quote. He said, "You've got to eat while you dream. You've got to deliver on short-range commitments while you develop a long-term strategy and vision and implement it. The success of doing both, walking and chewing gum, if you will. Get it done in the short range while delivering a long-range plan and executing on that." Man, I wish more entrepreneurs could hear that quote and understand it as it relates to your business and as it relates to you being a coaching client of ours. Talk to us about the balance between having the big vision of where you're going and then also needing to answer the door when a new customer comes in, shipping the cheesecakes out, hiring staff. Talk to us about the balance of thinking about your long-term vision and also your short-term daily demands.
Yes. Well, what I've learned from you and the business conference is how important it is to have a schedule. And if you don't have a schedule, your schedule is going to run you, having your to-do list. And that's what it is. It's not, I in the past have been easily distracted with the busy things, and I have to stay focused. I've learned that from you as well. There's so much I've learned from you, but just today, I'm having to work the front. I'm dealing with customers, but I'm also having to make sure that we have everything taken care of for next week and have our inventory and supplies and all that ready for next week. So it's just staying on task, not getting sidetracked, and being able to say, I just had customers come in and they know me and they're like, oh, hi, I haven't seen you forever. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I have a call I have to take, so it's just staying on task.
Now, I'm going to pull up the I'm going to go 90 miles an hour because that's what it's like being an entrepreneur. So I'm going to go 90 miles an hour because that's what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And I'm going to walk people through this path that we're guiding you down, the path that you're going down, and the path that's producing success for you. First off, you have to know your goals. Jen, 90 miles an hour. Why do you have to know your goals as an entrepreneur every single day?
Well, if you don't have your goals, then what are you shooting for? It's like I've never been a basketball player, but you're not making the shot. You're just like throwing the ball and just hope it goes wherever. So you've got to know where you're shooting and have your goals for that.
Now, I'm not fishing around for you to tell me the answer on this, but I want the listeners to know, your break-even point. You have to know how many customers you need just to break even. Maybe it's not the most fun to think about that, but every entrepreneur needs to know the numbers. Box number 3, you have to know how many hours you're willing to work. And you're somebody who will outwork almost anybody. You are a very hard worker, a diligent worker. You're also a business owner. You're also a mom. Let's talk about that, because the Bible in Genesis and Exodus, it talks about working 6 days a week and resting on the 7th. I think most Americans today don't work more than 40 hours a week. Let's talk about the grind.
It's real, we now are in this bougie market called Zupan's Market here in the Portland area, and we have to deliver to them. So we have to be up at 4:30 in the morning on Wednesdays and be delivering. And then Wednesday we had an event that started at 5. It went until 10 at night. So we didn't get home until 11:30. And that's just what you have to do. You have to keep digging the ditch. I know it won't be like this forever, but right now you just have to keep doing it.
Now, the next box, and I want to brag on you for this. A lot of clients come to me and they say, hey, I don't really have a unique value proposition. You guys had already, box number 4, had already established step number 4, a unique value proposition. Beloved Cheesecakes, you had already developed the flavors, the product, a great dessert item. I didn't need to help you with any of that. You'd already had that in place. I think the one thing we had to work together on, though, was to gather objective reviews from happy customers. So now when people go to belovedcheesecakes.com, we've got a large variety of happy client testimonials, objective reviews on Google, video reviews, and you can't fake that stuff. Can you talk about the importance of A, having a unique value proposition, and then B, gathering reviews from real people so that other people know about your unique value proposition?
Well, definitely. We have an amazing product that we're consistent. It's high quality. We have our no-brainer, which is free cheesecake samples. And I try to tell a lot of my business friends, offer something for free, or, like how you do $1 for your first month of coaching. And then what was the second part of the question?
No, I'm sorry to do a 2-part question, but I mean, one is you already had a great product, but I think one thing you and I've worked on together is making sure that the world knows it's great by gathering objective reviews. And before I met you, I think you had people love the product, but there wasn't a lot of online evidence that people did.
No, there wasn't. And I'm going to be honest, the first month coaching with you, I thought, this is so dumb. Why am I focusing on Google reviews? But I'm so glad that I focused on it. We've got amazing reviews, and it does make a difference. It keeps us up in the algorithm. It keeps us up on, people find us all the time through Google searching for best dessert or cheesecake. And then it's you want real experience. You want people to actually share and not be fake. So I look at reviews.
Now, since you and I have met, have you noticed an increase in the amount of online traffic or online orders or online purchases? Because again, you already had a great product before you and I met. And have you seen an increased amount of online traffic?
Oh, 100%. Increase in online traffic, increase in walk-ins. I mean, it's everything that I've implemented. Having you as a coach, if I wasn't doing the action steps that you share with us, then I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And I mean, I think of myself without you in my life, and there's no way. I would not have known about the Dream 100. I wouldn't have known about the Google reviews, the images, the SEO, the more images, more reviews. I wouldn't.
And you're into what's so fun, and why I called you today. I said we have to get you on the show. Is here we had an entrepreneur you've never met before, and I won't mention his name, but he was coming to our conference, almost depressed about where he was at with his life and his business. And he came to the conference because his family is so successful. So his family said, "Look here, buddy. You should come to this conference." And so he is a member of the same family, a different business. And he's like, wow, my family's having success. There must be something wrong with me. I don't know why I'm not having success. And when you came up and had the courage to just share about, wow, this is a grind, it inspired him to take action. And it's been unbelievable the success it's had on him. Box number 5, branding. You guys have great branding. Everybody out there, if you want to see great branding, go to belovedcheesecakes.com, order a cheesecake, and you're going to see great branding. I'm talking about the packaging, the way the product shows up, the way the product tastes, the follow-up process, the way you call consumers if they have questions. Branding is a big thing. Branding is what consumers think about when they think about your business. Can you talk about the importance of being intentional about your branding?
We are very intentional with our branding. So, we are all about having a high quality, consistent product and giving excellent customer service. So we do a handwritten note with every cheesecake that is shipped. We call our orders. I mean, that's kind of a dinosaur age of people calling on the phone nowadays, but we call and thank them for their order, verify it, confirm it. And that's what we want to be branded for, is having exceptional customer service and exceptional product. And just even coming in, like going to your conference, I can try to tell everyone to go to the conference, but you have to go and experience it. And it's the same thing with Beloved Cheesecakes. I can tell you all about it. You can experience the taste of it, but it's different when you actually come in our building. And that's another exceptional brand that we have. We have signs all over the walls, and that's our branding inspiration.
Now, the final 5 minutes we have you here, again, we're going to go 90 miles an hour because that's the way entrepreneurs go. You broke away from your very busy day to do this interview, and I appreciate you doing that. A three-legged marketing stool, you have to have a consistent, turnkey, repeatable way to get customers. Now, in your business, we do the Dream 100, where we reach out to our ideal and likely buyers, and we let people know about the product, aka the gourmet grocery store, podcasters, influencers, that kind of thing. The second leg is we gather objective reviews from happy consumers, and we also write search engine content to come up top. So leg number 1 is Dream 100 marketing. Leg number 2 is online marketing. And leg number 3 is signs and wonders. You have compelling locations. You put up signage that makes sense. You're always offering the consumer a no-brainer offer for first-time customers. Can you talk about the mental stress that has gone away by knowing that you have a three-legged marketing stool of things that work? Because so many of my coaching clients tell me, they say, Clay, before we started working with you, we were trying everything and we didn't know what would work. And now we've got 3 things that do work. Could you talk about that, the importance of having a three-legged marketing stool in place?
Yeah, well, I think it does, because when you're hit as a small business owner, you have the people that have magazines, and they want you to be in their ad, or your radio stations. And, before I knew you, I was investing and bleeding with these radio ads and magazines. And, it's very simple. We have our Google reviews, we have signage, we have the SEO, we have all of these things, and we track how we ask every single person how they hear about us. And so we have a spreadsheet, and we're able to keep track of how people are hearing about us. And so we can see where our marketing dollars are of value. And we have returning customers, and so many people come in because they see the signs and then the Google reviews, so it is important, and it's simple. We make it so much harder by, doing all the other fluff, I guess. And
now,
yeah.
I don't want to paint you to a corner. I'm not looking for a hard number. I'm just trying to build somebody's encouragement they can do it. If you had to think back 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, in terms of the amount of online business you're generating now, people that find you from the internet, whether it be locally or online from out of state, how much kind of an increase do you think you've seen in online or traffic that's generated from search engine optimization, that kind of thing, than maybe 2 years ago?
Well, I can say just from this last January to last January, if you just took that month with our online shipping orders, we grew 240%.
It's so great. If you're out there, folks, I get emotional, coughing it up here, allergies. No, but if you look up Jen and her business, you are a very approachable, very normal person, but you're in the grind. And so my final two questions I have for you. Question one, what do you say to any entrepreneur out there that's stuck? They feel like, oh my gosh, I have so much that I need to do. And and in this case, this young man came to a conference and his own family's there with him. He's feeling like he's not keeping up, like he doesn't have what it takes. And your message encouraged him so much. He felt like he could do it. What do you say to somebody out there that feels kind of stuck?
Well, I would say two things, and you did not pay me at all to say this, but I would definitely go to one of your conferences, because what I tell people, it's not a motivational conference, it's an action-packed conference, and you're going to learn the steps to grow your business and scale it if you want. And then also, we do here at Beloved Cheesecakes, we have our to-do list, but we've taken 6 of the to-do list items, 7 of them, make them our priority for the day, and at least to check off those 7 items, or 7 items a day. So that way you are doing a little bit every day and you're seeing a dent in your to-do list as it keeps growing.
Now, final question I have here, and I know you have to get back to your shop because it's a very busy day there at belovedcheesecakes.com. A lot of our listeners, they look for a great gift idea. They want to get their spouse something for maybe an anniversary. Somebody's dating somebody. They're looking for a gift. Maybe they're going to take a gift to a family member. Maybe it's a birthday, Valentine's, 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever the holiday is. And I encourage everybody out there to check out your products. But what should everybody check out if they have yet to experience belovedcheesecakes.com?
I would say check out our mini cheesecakes. You can get those. They're 4-inch cheesecakes, and you can pick up to 4 kinds. That's our ultimate sampler. You could do that. But yeah, we have Easter coming up. We have Mother's Day. We have graduations, all of those things coming up. And, it does make such a unique gift to give to someone that has everything. So,
Jen, thank you so much for your courage, A, to come up at the conference and share your story. I encourage so many people. And B, thank you for carving out time amidst your very busy day to be on the Thrivetime show today. I encourage everyone to go to belovedcheesecakes.com. That's plural, Beloved Cheesecakes with an S, belovedcheesecakes.com. Jen, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Clay. You have a great day too.
Bye-bye.
Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
Sean, guess what's happening June 5th and 6th right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem?
We are probably going to have an amazing business conference here at Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Yes, we're joined by Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is going to be joining us right here at the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters, June 5th and 6th. He's a very successful football player, obviously a Heisman Award winner, but he's also a very successful entrepreneur. Now, when you work with real clients, Sean, clients you really work with to help them grow their companies, do you ever hear a business owner tell you that they didn't have time to get something done?
Every day.
How often is not having enough time a problem for business owners?
All the time. It's like maybe 90% of the issues as people are trying to grow their company.
Well, Tim Tebow is going to come join us here at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, and he's going to teach us time management and his approach to personal self-discipline and getting things done. Also at the workshop, I'll put it up on the website so people can see it here. Also at the 2-day interactive workshop, Sean, we are going to be, there it is. We're going to be teaching accounting, systems creation, marketing, human resources, how to hire, inspire, train, and retain great people, accounting, social media advertising, search engine optimization. Sean, what's the area where most clients ask you for help the most? Is it generating leads? Is it hiring people? What's the biggest issue that most business owners have by default before they come to one of our workshops?
Well, I think it's management, because time is the most valuable resource for these business owners, and being able to manage their time is the first thing. Once they get that under control, then generally the numbers being able to track their business and be able to make the best decisions based on numbers rather than emotions is a big area. And we teach all of this stuff at the business conference, particularly you, Clay. You love to hammer on time management. It's my favorite part of the conference.
Now, I'm going to pull this up real quick here because we're going to go through. If you're not excited, I want to get you excited about what we're going to cover at the workshop here. Okay.
All right.
The 2-day interactive workshop. This is my 20th year hosting workshops. So I'm telling you, folks, we're in rare form here. So one is the idea of establishing your revenue goals. I think most entrepreneurs don't know their revenue goals. Would you agree, or am I off my rocker?
No, that's totally a very important point we do with every one of our new clients that come on board is we have to establish the revenue goals. And generally speaking, we have a vague idea, but not an exact idea that can be engineered down into like the daily goals for sales. And so that's a really big one.
Now, next is the break-even numbers. What kind of sales do you have to do to even break even?
Yeah.
Third is how many hours per week do you want to work? What is your ideal schedule as an entrepreneur? Box number 4, how do you stand out in the clutter of commerce? What makes your company unique from all the different businesses? In a world of brown cows, herds of brown cows, proverbial brown cows, the analogy of brown cows, how can you be the purple cow that stands out? How can you be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil? Box number 5, branding. How do you improve the perception that people have of you, your business, your brand? Box number 6, marketing, your 3-legged marketing stool. What is a turnkey way for you and your company to generate leads so you can succeed? Because if you don't have any leads, your business will bleed. If you can't sell, your business will go to hell. You've got to generate leads. Sean, how often do business owners by default tell you they have a hard time generating leads?
It's almost all of the time. It's really a huge struggle. And many times they may be creating leads, but just through word of mouth. So they get to a point where we've implemented systems and then they need to create more leads, but they've never had to do it. So there's a lot of different scenarios where business owners are like, how do you create leads? Something we hammer on at the conference a lot.
Box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Again, box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Sales scripts, recorded calls, one-sheets, pre-written emails, lead trackers, all of the sales tools, the sales print pieces, the one-sheets, the big screens that you see inside the business. Whether you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you got to have sales systems in place. We help you with that. Box number 8, what does it cost you to get another customer? Step number 8, what does it cost you to actually acquire a customer? Step number 9, it's hard to build an organization if you're not organized. We're going to teach you how to create repeatable systems, processes, file organization. Box number 10, we're going to teach you how to manage people, real people on the planet Earth. This just in, we're going to teach you how to manage real people on the planet Earth. Box number 11, how to create a sustainable schedule that works for you and your family. Step number 12, how to create human resources systems for recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining great people. Box number 13, accounting. This just in, we have to cover accounting. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. We're going to cover all the accounting things you need to know. And step 14, finally, what is the point of even achieving success? We're going to go over what is the point of even achieving success, how to design a life that you're excited about, how to design a life where you carve out enough time for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun, and where you're going to spend your focused time. We're going to go through that, all this and more. Now, the workshop, Sean, it's June 5th and 6th.
Yep.
It's a 2-day interactive workshop.
Yes.
And tickets, we always do it. It's $250 or whatever price that someone can afford. Sean, why do we let people name their price? Why do we have scholarship tickets available if somebody can't afford the $250 general admission ticket?
Well, we don't want anybody to miss out on it. You could be at a startup phase or you could be, way along in your business, but we want to make it accessible for everybody. I think it actually goes back to a story of your dad. And it goes all the way back to how you've always done this as a business coach, trying to make sure that, your average people out there have access to the things that work.
Now, 7 a.m. to 5, Sean, why do we go from 7 to 5 both days? I mean, it's 10 hours a day. 20 hours of training over 2 days. Why do we do 10 hours a day, Sean, of back-to-back workshops? We do a 30-minute teaching session. We do a 15-minute question and answer session, and then we take a break. 30 minutes of teaching, 15 minutes of question and answer, then we take a break. Why do we do that format, Sean?
That format is so that we can keep people engaged and not just sitting there listening, but also getting involved. We really encourage people to ask questions, and that's really where the juiciness of the conference comes out, is you can put your personal situation and your questions on the board, and Clay will tee off and give you direct advice. Even without being in our coaching program, you can get direct coaching from Clay. It's really a very engaging format. I enjoy it a lot.
Sean, final 60 seconds pop quiz here. What date is the conference?
June 5th and 6th, 2025, this year.
Question number 2. Who's our keynote speaker coming to the conference there, Sean?
Tim Tebow is our keynote speaker.
Sean, question number 3. How much does it cost to come to our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I think it's, did you say it's $250 or whatever you can afford?
That's right, $250
Yes.
or whatever you can afford. Sean, how do you spell Eric Trump backwards?
P-M-U-R-T-C-I-R-E. Ooh, that took a long time.
I'll have to listen to this. You did it right. All right, again, that's Sean Lohman. I'm Clay Clark, inviting you to come join us at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sean, I'm excited to have this event. I'm excited to see you at the event, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tim Tebow, baby. It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Hey guys, Luke Erickson here with the Thrivetime Show. As you can see behind me, we've got all kinds of energy going on. People are starting to show up for the conference, and it is hot in this place. We got grill guns over here. We've got people playing the drums. We've got fire breathers, and man, people are so excited as they come in. The conference is kicked off. This house is packed. We've got Aaron Antis with Sean Holmes up there. We've got Steve Currington with Total Lifting Concepts up there talking about what is possible when you just implement, when you do the proven system. It's so exciting. People are going crazy. Guys, Luke Erickson with the Thrivetime Show here with you. It is day 2 and the energy is high. People are so excited to be showing up. The team is ready. Come on, let's see what it's like to go on in for day 2. Follow me. I tell you what, people are so excited to be here for day 2. It is going to be incredible. Cannot wait to see what today has in store. Right now, here at the conference, we've broken into groups going over search engine optimization. I know for most of us, myself included, if you hear that term, you go, what is that? What does that mean? That's too techie for me. Well, our experts are breaking it down for people so that you can clearly understand how to come up top in Google. It's doable. It's possible. Now we're in the middle of a break, and what we like to do is we like to give you as much tangible and relevant information from about the start of the hour for 45 minutes. Then we take approximately a 15-minute break to allow people to connect with other entrepreneurs around them, bathroom breaks, and also use this time to just really digest all of the good information that you're receiving the whole time. Right behind me, we've got Bob with his grill gun, melting an ice sculpture. It is awesome. The ice sculpture represents our life, right? It's here for a time, but we all need to have the sense of urgency to implement the things that we're learning so that we can make the most of the time that we have.
I heard about it on the podcast. Started listening to the podcast, became a fan, and then figured out about the workshop. I own an insurance and financial services agency, and I was hoping to learn from the workshop systems and processes. I'm big on systems and processes and always learning better ways to run a business more efficiently. The atmosphere's second to none. It's a high energy, really cool atmosphere to be around. Contagious, I would say. Just something every entrepreneur, I think, would appreciate and love. I'd say humorous, high energy, and full of substance, which I think is the key. A lot of business coaches or seminars maybe are high on motivation and making you feel good, but don't have a lot of substance that you can take back and implement, the following Monday, where his does. Man, there's a lot of valuable things. I'm gonna say, this is my second workshop. The first workshop I took back really the importance of a group interview. I used to spend hours and hours interviewing people, screening resumes, and that saving my time on that part is valuable. It was that and then the sales scripting that have been two major things just so far. Man, I think they're missing out on, expert advice from somebody who's been there, done that, built companies, has learned a lot of lessons. That's what I'm always looking for, is somebody that I can learn from that's ahead of where I am. And I think if you choose not to come, you're missing out on a lot of good advice that could help your business.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us, and it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing. And Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads, going from 10 a month to 180 a month. That would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it, because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Clay, my honor to be on your show, and thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? people rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodruff Finishing. I'm business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous, just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success, and I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach. You know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever is important. And, my rich dad was one of those persons. You're on it, man. You're on it. You're on it. Everybody listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You have the macro picture. Very few people have that point of view. Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble.